Okay, we're now live. Hi, I'm Paul Sugarman, the Instant Shakespeare Company. Today's reading is All's Well That Ends Well. We had to move it to Zoom. We were originally trying to do this in the Yorkville Library, but just, you know, as with COVID surging, it made more sense to move it to Zoom. So here we are on Zoom. And Virginia and Vicky are the playmasters for this. So over to you guys to introduce it. So Shakespeare for everyone.
Yay. I'm just gonna say that we have a fairly small cast, and it's luckily it's a fairly small bunch of characters in this one, and we're gonna get started really soon. And we still lack Kitty, Chen, and Ken Wayne, so we're gonna just fill in for them as we can. And thank you all so much for filling in.
Ken is just he came in as
oh hi Ken. Hi Ken. Yay.
Sorry, I'm late.
All right, so Yasha will be doing Countess until we hear from Kitty, and then I guess I'll probably do Countess a lot because Yasha's playing the clown and they have scenes together. Vicky, do you have any questions about pronunciations or anything?
I think I'm good. I think I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I think we pronounce it Roussillon because that's like a mixture between the French and the British. Always love to do it their way.
Yeah.
I guess the French would say Roussillon, but
of course, bien sûr, bien sûr.
The French would say Roussillon.
Oui.
Yeah, Roussillon, but the Brits love their thing, so let's just say Roussillon. All right.
Doesn't matter to me.
Oh, hi, Kitty. Is that Kitty?
I've been trying to get on for 15 minutes. I couldn't. I had to start all over again.
Oh no! Well, we're
so
really glad you're here. Okay, good. So now we have
I'm here. I've been here. I've been yelling.
Right.
I'm here.
Oh, that's the worst
All right.
feeling.
So
in there.
I hope I don't mess things up. I probably will. I apologize in advance. But anyway, anybody have anything else to say? Oh, we haven't introduced ourselves. Let's just quickly do that. I'm just going to name you off in terms of how I see you all in the screen. Clinton, please.
I'm Clinton Powell, and I'm reading Bertram.
What am I doing?
I think that's Cynthia at Ripley Greer. So let's start with Cynthia introducing herself, and then maybe she can mute herself so we have better sound. Cynthia, please.
Yes, my name is Cynthia, and I'm doing Stewart and Diana.
Diana, right. Thank you for joining us so last minute. Okay, Clinton?
Oh, I'm Clinton Powell, and I'm reading Bertram.
Yay. Bertram, the anti-hero of all time. David Cedar, please.
I am David Cedar. I'm reading Lord Lefeu and the First Lord.
Thank you. Yasha?
Hello, my name is Yasha Bilan. I'm reading Lavash the Clown.
Vicky?
Greetings, Vicky Devaney, Helena.
Yay, and Vicky is the co-playmaster here too. Thank you for all your help on these last couple plays, Vicky. And Mark?
I am Mark Gehring, and I'm playing Parolles.
Yay, Mr. Wordy, as his name would lead you to believe. And Kitty?
I'm Kitty Chen. I'm not reading Parolles. I'm not Mark Gehring, but somehow I got my invitations all mixed up.
Yeah, you probably clicked the one that Ken mistakenly sent to me.
Or Countess and Duke of Florence.
Right.
And I won't try to come in as me until later because I'm writing the first scene.
Beautiful. And Ken, please.
Kenneth Wayne. I'm the King of France and one of the gentlemen.
All right. And I'm Virginia Hammer, and I'm doing Lord 1. And I'm doing Gentleman.
Virginia, excuse me, aren't you Lord 2? I'm Lord 1.
Lord 2, yeah, sorry. Yeah. Thank you, David. Lord 2.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Okay, so without any further ado, all's well that ends well. Okay, so without
Kitty, that's you.
Aren't you going to read the actus primus? Should I just start without?
You know what, everybody? Okay, we'll just.
We need to get a convention
Do
for
we?
this.
All right, all right.
Every time it's
I'll
different.
do all the scene names. Act 1, Scene 1, at the Countess of Vercilion's court.
Oh, we have a different script. In delivering my son from me, I bury a second husband.
And I, in going, madam, weep o'er my father's death anew, but I must attend his majesty's command, to whom I am now in ward, evermore in subjection.
You shall find of the king a husband, madame. You, sir, a father. He that so generally is at all times good must of necessity hold his virtue to you, whose worthiness would stir it up where it wanted, rather than lack it where there is such abundance.
What hope is there of his majesty's amendment?
He hath abandoned his physicians, madam, under whose practices he hath persecuted time with hope, and finds no other advantage in the process, but only the losing of hope by time.
This young gentlewoman had a father. Oh, that had, how sad a passage 'tis, whose skill was almost as great as his honesty, had it stretched so far, would have made nature immortal, and death should have play for lack of work. Work would for the king's sake he were living. I think it would be the death of the king's disease.
How called you the man you speak of, madam?
He was famous, sir, in his profession, and it was his great right to be so. Gerard de Narbonne.
Ah, he was an excellent indeed, madam. The king very lately spoke of him admiringly and mourningly. He was skillful enough to have lived still, if knowledge could be set up against mortality.
What is it, my good lord, the king languishes of?
A fistula, my lord.
I heard not of it before.
Would it were not notorious. Was this gentlewoman the daughter of Gerard de Narbonne?
His sole child, my lord, and bequeathed to my overlooking. I have those hopes of her good, that her education promises her dispositions she inherits, which makes fair gifts fairer. For where an unclean mind carries virtuous qualities, their commendations go with pity. They are virtues and traitors too. In her they are the better for their simpleness. She derives her honesty and achieves her goodness.
Your commendations, madam, get from her tears.
'Tis the best brine a maiden can season her praise in. The remembrance of her father never approaches her heart, but the tyranny of her sorrows takes all livelihood from her cheek. No more of this, Helena. Go to, no more, least it be rather thought you affect a sorrow than to have.
I do affect a sorrow indeed, but I have it too.
Moderate lamentation is the right of the dead. Excess grief, the enemy to the living.
If the living be enemy to the grief, the excess makes it soon mortal.
Madam, I desire your holy wishes.
How understand we that?
Be thou blessed, Bertram, and succeed my father. In manners as in shape, thy blood and virtue contend for empire in thee, and thy goodness share with thy birthright. Love all, trust a few, do wrong to none, be able for thine enemy rather in power than use, and keep thy friend under thy own life's key. Be checked for silence, but never taxed for speech. What heaven more will that thee may furnish, and my prayers plucked down fall on thy head. Farewell, my lord. 'Tis an unseasoned courtier. Good my lord, advise him.
He cannot want the best that shall attend his love.
Heaven bless him. Farewell, Bertram.
The best wishes that can be forged in your thoughts be servants to you. Be comfortable to my mother, your mistress, and make much of her.
Farewell, pretty lady. You must hold the credit of your father.
Oh, were that all? I think not on my father, and these great tears grace his remembrance more than those I shed for him. What was he like? I have forgot him. My imagination carries no favor in it but Bertram's. I am undone. There is no living, none, if Bertram be away. For all one that I should love a bright particular stage and think to wed it. A star, he is so far above me in his bright radiance and collateral light. Must I be comforted, not in his fear? The ambition in my love thus plagues itself. The hind that would be mated by the lion must die for love. 'Twas pretty though a plague to see him every hour to sit and draw his arched brows, his hawking eye, his curl in our heart's table, heart too capable of every line and trick of his sweet favor. But now he's gone, and my idolatrous fancy must sacrifice his reliques. Who comes here? Oh, one that goes with him. I love him for his sake, and yet I know him a notorious liar. Think him a great way fool, solely a coward, yet these fixed evils sit so fixed in him that they take place when virtue's steely bones look bleak in the cold winter. Withal full oft we see cold wisdom weighing on superfluous folly.
Save you, fair queen.
And you, monarch?
No.
And no?
Are you meditating on virginity?
Ah, you have some stain of soldier in you. Let me ask you a question. Man is enemy to virginity. How we may barricado it against it?
Keep him out.
But if he assails and our virginity, though valiant in the defense, yet is weak, unfold to us some warlike resistance.
Oh, there is none. Man sitting down before you will undermine you and blow you up.
Bless our poor virginity from underminers and blowers up. Is there no military policy how virgins might blow up men?
Virginity being blown down, man will quicklier be blown up. Mary, in blowing him down again with the breaches yourselves made, you lose your city. It is not politic in the commonwealth of nature to preserve virginity. Loss of virginity is rational increase, and there was never virgin got till virginity was first lost. That you were made of is metal to make virgins. Virginity, by being once lost, may be 10 times found. By being ever kept, it is ever lost, is too cold a companion. Away with it.
I will stand for it a little, though therefore I die a virgin.
There's little can be said in it. It is against the rule of nature. To speak on the part of virginity is to accuse your mothers, which is most infallible disobedience. He that hangs himself is a virgin. Virginity murders itself and should be buried in highways out of all sanctified limit as a desperate offendress against nature. Virginity breeds mites, much like a cheese, consumes itself to the very paring, and so dies with feeding his own stomach. Besides, virginity is peevish, proud, idle, made of self-love, which is the most inhibited sin in the canon. Keep it not. You cannot choose but lose by it. Out with it. Within 10 years, it will make itself 2, which is a goodly increase, and the principle itself not much the worse. Away with it.
Or to lose it to her own liking.
Let me see. Mary, I'll ill to like him that ne'er it likes. 'Tis a commodity will lose the gloss with lying. The longer kept, the less worth. Off with it, 'tis while 'tis vendible. Answer the time of request. Virginity, like an old courtier, wears her cap out of fashion, richly suited but unsuitable, just like the brooch and the toothpick, which were not now. Your date is better in your pie and your porridge than in your cheek. And your virginity, your old virginity, is like one of our French withered pears. It looks ill, it eats dryly. Mary, 'tis a withered pear. It was formerly better, Mary, yet 'tis a withered pear. Will you anything with it?
Not my virginity yet. There shall your master have 1,000 loves, a mother and a mistress, and a friend, a phoenix, captain and an enemy, a guide, a goddess, and a sovereign, a counselor, a traitress, and a dear. His humble ambition, proud humility, his jarring concord, and his discord, dulcet. His faith, his sweet disaster, what a world of pretty fond, adoptious Christendoms that blinking Cupid gossips. Now shall he, I know not what he shall. God send him well. The court's a learning place, and he is one.
What one, Faith?
That I wish well, 'tis pity.
What's pity?
That wishing well had not a body in it would much be felt. We the poor are born, whose base stars do shut us up in wishes, might with effects of them follow our friends, and show them what we alone must think, which never returns us thanks.
Page.
Monsieur Perolis, my lord calls for you.
Little Helen, farewell. If I can remember thee, I will think of thee at court.
Monsieur Perolis, you were born under a charitable sage.
Under
Star.
Mars, I
especially think a star under Mars.
Why under Mars?
The wars have kept you so under that you must need be born under Mars.
When he was preponderant.
When he was retrograde, I think rather.
Why think you so?
You go so much backward when you fight.
That's for advantage.
So he is running away, which fear proposes the safety, but the composition that your valor and fear make in you is a virtue of a good wing, and I like the wear well.
I am so full of business, I cannot answer thee acutely. I will return a perfect courtier, in the which my instruction shall serve to naturalize thee, so thou wilt be capable of a courtier's counsel, and understand what advice shall thrust upon thee. Else thou diest in thine unthankfulness, and thine ignorance makes thee away. Farewell. When thou hast leisure, say thy prayers. When thou hast done, remember thy friends. Get thee a good husband, and use him as he uses thee. So, farewell.
Our remedies often ourselves do lie, which we ascribe to heaven. The fated sky gives us free scope, only doth backward pull our slow designs when we ourselves are dull. What power is it which mounts my love so high that makes me see and cannot feed mine eye? The mightiest space and fortune nature brings to join likes and kiss like native things. Impossible be strange attempts to those that weigh their pains incense and do suppose what hath been cannot be. Whoever strove to show her merit that did miss her love, the king's disease. My project may deceive me, but my intents are fixed and will not leave me.
At 1 Scene 2, flourish cornets. Enter the King of France with letters and diverse attendants.
The Florentines and Senois are by the ears, have fought with equal fortune and continue a braving war.
So 'tis reported, sir.
It is most credible. We here receive it, a certainty vouched from our cousin Austria with caution, that the Florentine will move us for speedy aid, wherein our dearest friend repudiates the business and would seem to have us make denial.
His love and wisdom, approved so to your majesty, may plead for amplest credence.
He hath armed our answer, and Florence is denied before he comes. Yet for our gentlemen that mean to see the Tuscan service, freely have they leave to stand on either part.
Well may serve a nursery to our gentry, who are sick for breathing and exploit.
But he comes here.
It is the Count Rossignol, my good lord, young Bertram.
Youth, thou bear'st thy father's face. Frank nature, rather curious than in haste, hath well composed thee. Thy father's moral parts mayst thou inherit too. Welcome to Paris.
My thanks and duty are your majesty's.
I would I had that corporal soundness now as when thy father and myself in friendship first tried our soldiership. He did look far into the service of the time, and was discipled of the bravest. He lasted long, but on us both did haggish age steal on, and wore us out of act. It much repairs me to talk of your good father. In his youth he had the wit which I can well observe today in our young lords, but they may jest till their own scorn return to them unnoted ere they can hide their levity and honor. So like a courtier, contempt nor bitterness were in his pride or sharpness. If they were, his equal had awaked them, and his honor. Clock to itself knew the true minute when exception bid him speak, and at this time his tongue obeyed his hand. Who were below him he used as creatures of another place, and bowed his eminent top to their low ranks, making them proud of his humility. In their poor phrase he humbled. Such a man might be a copy to these younger times, which followed well, would demonstrate them now, but go as backward.
His good remembrance, sir, lies richer in your thoughts than on his tomb. So in a proof lives not his epitaph, as in your royal speech.
I were with him. He would always say, methinks I hear him now. His applause of words he scattered not in ears, but grafted them to grow there and to bear. Let me not live. This his good melancholy oft began on the catastrophe in hill of pastime when it was out. Let me not live, quoth he, after my flame lacks oil, to be the snuff of younger spirits, whose apprehensive senses all but new things disdain, whose judgments are mere fathers of their garments, whose constancies expire before their fashions. This he wished, I after him, do after him wish too. Since I nor wax nor honey can bring home, I quickly would dissolve it from my hive to give some laborers room.
Your loved sir, they that least lend it you shall lack you first.
I fill a place, I know it. How longest count since the physician at your father's died? He was much famed.
Some 6 months since, my lord.
If he were living, I would try him yet. Lend me an arm. The rest have worn me out with several applications. Nature and sickness debated at their leisure. Welcome, Count. My son's no dearer.
Thank your majesty.
Flourish. At one scene 3, Countess, Steward, and Clown.
I will now hear what say you of this gentlewoman.
Madam, the care I have had to even your content, I wish might be found in the calendar of my past endeavors. For then we wind our modesty and make foul the clearness of our deservings whenever ourselves we publish them.
What is this knave here? Get you gone, sirrah. The complaints I have heard of you I do not all believe. 'Tis my slowness that I do not. For I know you lack not folly to commit them, and have ability enough to make such knaveries yours.
'Tis not unknown to you, madam. I am a poor fellow.
Well, sir?
No, madam. 'Tis not so well that I am poor, though many of the rich are damned. But if I may have your ladyship's goodwill to go to the world, Isabel the woman, and will do as we may.
Wilt thou needs be a beggar?
I do beg your goodwill in this case.
In what case?
In Isabel's case, and mine own. Service is no heritage, and I think I shall never have the blessing of God till I've issue of my body, for they say barns are blessings.
Tell me thy reason why thou wilt marry.
My poor body, madam, requires it. I am driven on by the flesh, and he must needs go that the devil drives.
That all your worship's reason?
Faith, madam, I have other holy reasons, such as they are.
May the world know them?
I have been, madam, a wicked creature, as you and all flesh and blood are. And indeed, I do marry that I may repent.
Thy marriage sooner than thy wickedness.
I am out of friends, madam, and I hope to have friends for my wife's sake.
Such friends are thine enemies, knave.
You're shallow, madam, and great friend, for the knaves come to do that for me which I am weary of. He that heirs my land spares my team, gives me leave to in the crop. I be his cuckold, he's my drudge. He that comforts my wife is a cherisher of my flesh and blood. He that cherishes my flesh and blood loves my flesh and blood. He that loves my flesh and blood is my friend. Ergo, he that kisses my wife is my friend. Men could be contented to be what they are. There were no fear in marriage. For young Charbonne the Puritan and old Poysam the Papist, how somewhere their hearts are severed in religion. Their heads are both one. They may jewel horns together like any deer herd.
Wilt thou ever be a foul-mouthed and calumnious knave?
Prophet I, madam, and I speak the truth the next way, for I the ballad will repeat. Gentle, you shall find, your marriage comes my destiny, your cuckoo sings my kind.
Get you gone, sir. I'll talk with you more anon.
May it please you, madam, that he bid Helen come to you? Of her I am to speak.
Was this fair face the cause, quoth she?
Tell my gentlewoman I would speak with her. Helen, I mean.
Was this fair face the cause, quoth she? Why, the Grecians sacked Troy, found none, done, found was the king, freedom's joy. With that she sighed, she stood. This sentence then, among 9 bad if one be good. Among 9 bad if one be good. There's yet 1 good in 10.
What? 1 good in 10? You corrupt the song, sirrah.
1 good woman in 10, madam, which is a purifying song. If God would serve the world, so all the year would find no fault with the tithe woman if I were the parson. 1 in 10 quote, and we might have a good woman born or heaven's blazing star, or at an earthquake. Well, a man might draw his heart out. You're
gone, sir. You be gone, sir knave, and do as I command you.
If man should be at woman's command, and yet no hurt done. Though honesty be no Puritan, yet it'll do no hurt. It will wear the surplice of humility over the black gown of a big heart. I am going forsooth. Business is
I've never seen it now. I'm like, oh my God. I remember that another time I wanted to see it, that's when it shut down.
Countess?
We practiced it.
Well, now.
I know, madam, you love your gentlewoman entirely.
Faith, I do. Her father bequeathed her to me, and she herself, without other advantage, may lawfully make title to as much love as she finds. There is more owing her than is paid, and more shall be paid her than she'll demand.
Madam, I was very late more near her than I think she wished me. Alone she was, and did communicate to herself her own words to her own ears, she thought. I dare vow for her they touch not any stranger sense. Her matter was, she loved your son. Fortune, she said, was no goddess that had put such difference betwixt their 2 estates. Love no god that would not extend his might only, for qualities were level. Queen of virgins, that could suffer her poor knight surprised without rescue in the first assault or ransom afterward. This she delivered in the most bitter touch of sorrow, that ere I heard virgin exclaiming, which I held my duty speedily to acquaint you withal. For thence in the loss that may happen, it concerns you something to know it.
You have discharged this honestly. Keep it to yourself. Mainly likelihoods informed me of this before, which hung so tottering in the balance that I could neither believe nor misdoubt. Pray you lead me. Stall this in your bosom, and I thank you for your honest care. I will speak with you further anon.
And I just say, okay, so Cynthia, you're muted now, right? What we do when we're not on is you temporarily unvideo yourself. So you're not on the screen. And then a few lines before you're due next to come in is when you video yourself up there. Okay, excellent. All right, keep on going, everybody. Thanks.
Even so it was with me when I was young. If ever we are nature's, these are ours. This thorn doth to our rose of youth rightly belong. Our blood to us, this to our blood is born. It is the show and seal of nature's truth, where love's strong passion is impressed in youth by our remembrances of days forgone. Such were our faults, or then we thought them none, ere I is sick on't, I observe her now.
What is your pleasure, madam?
You know, Helen, I am a mother to you.
Mine honorable mistress.
Nay, a mother, why not a mother? When I seed a mother, methought you saw a serpent. What's in mother that you start at it? I say I'm your mother, and put you in the catalogue of those that were enwombed mine. 'Tis often seen adoption strives with nature, and choice breeds of natives slip to us from foreign seeds. You ne'er oppressed me with a mother's groan, yet I express to you a mother's care. God's mercy, maiden, does it curd thy blood to say I am thy mother? What's the matter that this distempered messenger of wet, the many-colored iris rounds thine eye? Why, that you are my daughter?
That I am not.
I say I am your mother.
Pardon, madam, the Count Rousillon cannot be my brother. I am from humble, he from honored name. No note upon my parents, his all noble. My master, my dear lord he is, and I his servant live, and will his vassal die. He must not be my brother.
Nor I your mother.
You are my mother, madam. Would you were so that my lord your son were not my brother. Indeed, my mother, or were you both our mothers, I care no more for it than I do for heaven. So I were not his sister, can't no other, but I your daughter, he must be my brother.
Yes, Helen, you might be my daughter-in-law. God shield you mean it not, daughter and mother, so strive upon your pulse. What, pale again? My fear hath catched your fondness. Now I see the mystery of your loveliness, and find your salt tears head. Now to all sense 'tis gross. You love my son. Invention is ashamed against the proclamation of thy passion to say thou dost not. Therefore tell me true. But tell me then 'tis so. For look, thy cheeks confess it, one tooth to the other, and thine eyes see it so grossly shown in thy behaviors that in their kind they speak it. Only sin and hellish obstinacy to thy tongue that truth should be suspected. Speak, is so? If it be so, you have wombed a goodly clue. If it be not, forswear it howe'er I charge thee, as heaven shall work in me for thine avail, to tell me truly.
Good madam, pardon me.
Do you love my son?
Your pardon, noble mistress.
Love you my son?
Do not you love him, madam?
Go not about, my love hath into bond, whereof the world takes note. Come, come, disclose. The state of your affection for your passions have to the full appeached.
Then I confess here on my knee before high heaven and you, that before you and next unto high heaven, I love your son. My friends were poor but honest, and so's my love. Be not offended, for it hurts not him that he is loved of me. I follow him not by any token of presumptuous suit, nor would I have him till I do deserve him, yet never know how that desert should be. I know I love in vain. Strive against hope, yet this captious and intemable sieve I still pour in the waters of my love and lack not to loosen still. Thus, Indian-like, religious in mine era, I adore the son that looks unto his worshipper, but knows of him no more. My dearest madam, let not your hate encounter with my love for loving what you do, But if yourself, whose aged honor sights of virtuous youth did ever, in so true a flame of liking with chastely and love dearly, that your Diana was both herself and love, oh, then give pity to her whose state is such that cannot choose but lend and give where she is sure to lose, that seeks not to find that her search implies, but riddle-like, live sweetly where she dies.
Had you not lately an intent, speak truly, to go to Paris?
Madam, I had.
Wherefore? Tell true.
I will tell truth by grace itself, I swear. You know my father left me some prescriptions of rare and proved effects, such as his reading and manifest experience had collected for general sovereignty, and that he willed me in heedful reservation to bestow them as notes, whose faculties inclusive were more than they were in note. Amongst the rest, there is a remedy approved set down to cure the desperate languishing whereof the king is rendered lost.
This was your motive for Paris, was it? Speak.
My lord, your son made me think of it, ere Paris and the medicine and the king had from the conversation of my thoughts happily been absent then.
But think you, Helen, if you should tender your supposed aid, he would receive it? He and his physicians are of a mind, he, that they cannot help him. They that they cannot help, how shall they credit a poor unlearned virgin when the schools embowed of their doctrine have left off the danger to itself?
There's something in it more than my father's skill, which was the greatest of his profession, and his good receipt shall from my legacy be sanctified, lie lucky as stars in heaven, and would your honor but give me leave to try success, I'd venture the well-lost life of mine on his grace's cure by such a day, an hour.
Dost thou believe it?
Aye, madam, knowingly.
Why, Helen, thou shalt have my leave and love, means and attendance, and my loving greetings to those of mine in court. I'll stay at home and pray God's blessing into thy attempt. Be gone tomorrow, and be sure of this, what I can help thee to, thou shalt not miss.
Scene 1. Enter the King of France with diverse young lords, taking leave for the Florentine War. Count, Roussillon, and Paroles. Flourish, cornets.
Can you just give me a second? I have to run and get my book.
Sure. I should have said before, I think a really good time to take a 5-minute break would be page 70, after Act 3, Scene 3. That's the second Duke of Florence scene with Bertram. Okay. It's going very well so far, you guys. Excellent.
Okay, got it.
What happened was I was sent Mark Gehring's Zoom link rather than mine. I was not sent one. And I sent Mark the one that was sent to me, but I didn't get one.
Oh, you can change the title. You have to look. Where is
Okay,
that?
3 dots.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that. It's just easier.
Yeah, I should do that too.
All right.
All right, we're set to go. Here we go.
Farewell, young lords. These warlike principles do not row from you. And you, my lords, farewell. Share the advice betwixt you. If both gain all, the gift doth stretch itself as 'tis received, and is enough for both.
It is our hope, sir, after well-entered soldiers, to return and find your grace in health.
No, no, it cannot be. And yet my heart will not confess he owes the malady that doth my life besiege. Farewell, young lords, whether I live or die, be you the sons of worthy Frenchmen. That higher Italy, those bated that inherit but the fall of the last monarchy, see that you come not to woo honor, but to wed it, when the bravest question shrinks. Find what you seek, that fame may cry you loud. I say farewell.
Health at your bidding, serve your majesty.
Those girls of Italy, take heed of them. They say our French lack language to deny if they demand. Beware of being captives before you serve.
Our hearts receive your warnings.
Farewell. Come hither to me.
Oh, my sweet lord, you will stay behind us.
It's not his fault. The spark is.
Oh, 'tis brave wars.
Most admirable. I have seen those words.
I am commanded here and kept a coil with too young, and the next year, and 'tis too early.
And thy mind stand to't, boy. Steal away bravely.
I shall stay here, the forehorse to a smock, creaking my shoes on the plain masonry, till honor be bought up, and no sword worn, but one to dance with. By heaven, I'll steal away.
There's honor in the theft.
Permit it, Count.
I am your accessory, and so farewell.
I grow to you, and our parting is a tortured body.
Farewell, Captain.
Sweet Monsieur Paroles.
Noble heroes, my swords and yours are kin. Good sparks and lustrous. A word, good metals. You shall find in the regiment of the Spinney one Captain Spuriel, his cicatrice with an emblem of war, here his sinister cheek. It was this very sword entrenched. Say to him I live, and observe his reports for me.
He shall, noble captain.
Mars dotes on you for his novices. What will you do?
Stay the king.
Use a more spacious ceremony to the noble lords. You have restrained yourself within the list of too cold and adieu. Be more expressive to them, for they wear themselves in the cap of time. Their due must true gait. Eat, speak, and move under the influence of the most received star. And though the devil lead the measure, such are to be followed. After them, and take a more dilated farewell.
And I will do so.
Worthy fellows, and like to prove most sinewy swordmen.
Pardon me, my lord, for my tidings.
I'll fee thee to stand up.
And here's a man stands that has brought his pardon. I would you had kneeled, my lord, to ask me mercy, and that at my bidding you could so stand up.
I would I had, so I broke thy pate and asked thee mercy for it.
Good faith, a cross. But my good lord, 'tis thus. Will you be cured of your infirmity?
No.
Oh, will you eat no grapes, my royal fox? Yes, but you will. My noble grapes. And if my royal fox could reach them, I have seen a medicine that's able to breathe life into a stone, quicken a rock, and make you dance canary with sprightly fire and motion, whose simple touch is powerful to erase King Pippin, nay, to give great Charlemagne a pen in his hand and write to her a love line.
What her is this?
Why, Dr. She, my lord, there's one arrived, if you will see her. Now, by my faith and honor, if seriously I may convey my thoughts in this my light deliverance, I have spoken with one that in her sex, her years, profession, wisdom, and constancy hath amazed me more than I dare blame my weakness. Will you see her? For that is her demand, and know her business. That done, laugh well at me.
Now, good Lifew, bring in the admiration, that we with thee may spend our wonder too, or take off thine by wondering how thou took'st it.
Nay, I'll fit you, and not be all day neither.
Thus he his special nothing ever prologues.
Nay, come your ways.
His haste hath wings indeed.
Nay, come your ways. This is his majesty. Say your mind to him. A traitor you do look like, but such traitors his majesty seldom fears. I am Cressid's uncle that dare leave two together. Fare you well.
Now, fair one, does your business follow us?
Aye. Good lord, Gerard de Narbon was my father, and what he did profess well found.
I knew him.
The rather will I spare my praises towards him, knowing him enough on his bed of death. Many receipts he gave me, chiefly one which is the dearest issue of his practice, and of his old experience, the only darling he had me store up as a triple eye, safer than mine own two. More dear I have so, and hearing your high majesty is touched with that malignant cause, wherein the honor of my dear father's gift stands chief in power, I come to tender it, and my appliance with all bound humbleness.
We thank you, madam, but may not be so credulous of cure when our most learned doctors leave us. And the congregated college have concluded that laboring art can never ransom nature from her inedible estate. I say we must not so stain our judgment or corrupt our hope, to prostitute our past cure malady to empirics, or to dissever so our great self and our credit to esteem a senseless help when help past sense we deem.
My duty then shall pay me for my pains. I will no more enforce mine office on you, humbly entreating from your royal thoughts a modest one to bear me back again.
I cannot give thee less to be called grateful. Thou thought'st to help me, and such thanks I give as one near death to those that wish him live. But what at full I know, thou know'st no part. I knowing all my peril, thou no arts.
What can I do? Can do no harm to try. Since you set up your rest against remedies, he that of greatest works is finisher, oft does them by the weakest minister. So holy writ, in babes hath judgment shown, when judges have been babes. Great floods have flowing from simple sources, and great seas have dried, when miracles have by the greatest been denied. Oft expectation fails, and most oft there, where most it promises, and oft it hits, where hope is coldest, and despair most shifts.
I must not hear thee. Fare thee well, kind maid, thy pains not used must by thyself be paid. Proffers not took reap thanks for their reward.
Inspired merit so by breath is barred. It is not so with him that all things know as 'tis with us, that square our guests by shows, but most it is presumptuous in us. When the help of heaven we count the act of men. Dear sir, to my endeavors give consent of heaven, not me. Make an experiment. I am not an impostor that proclaims myself against the level of mine aim. But no, I think I know most sure my art is not past power, nor you past cure.
Art thou so confident? Within what space hopest thou my cure?
The greatest grace lending grace, ere twice the horses of the sun shall bring their fiery torture his diurnal ring, ere twice in murk and occidental damp, moist Hesperus hath quenched her sleepy lamp of 24 times the pilot's glass, hath told the thievish minutes how they pass. What is infirm from your sound parts shall fly, health shall live free, and sickness freely die.
Upon thy certainty and confidence, what darest thou venture?
Tax of impudence, a strumpet's boldness, a divulged shame traduced by odious ballads. My maiden's name, seared otherwise no worse of worse extended, with vilest torture, let my life be ended.
Methinks in thee some blessed spirit doth speak, his powerful sound within an organ weak. And what impossibility would slay in common sense, sense saves another way. Thy life is dear, for all that life can rate, worth name of life in thee hath estimate. Youth, beauty, wisdom, courage, all that happiness and prime can happy call. Thou this to hazard needs must intimate skill infinite or monstrous desperate. Sweet practicer, thy physic I will try, that ministers thine own death if I die.
If I break time or flinch in property of what I spoke, unpitied, let me die, and well deserve it, not helping. Death's my fee. But if I help, what do you promise me?
Make thy demand.
But will you make it even?
Aye, by my scepter and my hopes of heaven.
Then shalt thou give me with thy kingly hand what husband in thy power I will command. Exempted be from me the arrogance to choose from forth the royal blood of France, my low and humble name to propagate with any branch or image of thy state, but such a one thy vassal whom I know is free for me to ask thee to bestow.
Here is my hand. The premises observed, thy will by my performance shall be served. So will the choice of thy own time, for I, thy resolved patience, on thee still rely. More should I question thee, and more I must, though more to know could not be more to trust. From whence thou camest, how tended on, but rest unquestioned welcome and undoubted blessed. Give me some help here, ho! If thou proceed as high as word, my deed shall match thy deed.
Flourish. Exit. Act 2, Scene 2. Enter Countess and Clown.
Come on, sir. I shall now put you to the height of your breeding.
I will show myself highly fed and lowly taught. I know my business is but to the court.
To the court? Why, what place make you special when you put off that with such contempt, but to the court?
Truly, madam, if God have lent a man any manners, he may easily put it off at court. He that cannot make a leg, put off's cap, kiss his hand, and say nothing. Has neither leg, hands, lip, nor cap. And indeed, such a fellow, to say precisely, were not for the court, but for me, I have an answer will serve all men.
Mary, that's a bountiful answer that fits all questions.
It is like a barber's chair that fits all buttocks. The pin buttock, the quatch buttock, the brawn buttock, or any buttock.
Will your answer serve fit to all questions?
As fit as 10 groats is for the hand of an attorney, as your French crown for your taffety punk, as Tibbs' rush for Tom's forefinger, as a pancake for Shrove Tuesday, a Morris for May Day, as the nail to his hole, the cockle to his horn, as a scolding queen to a wrangling knave, as the nun's lip to the friar's mouth, nay, as the pudding to his skin.
Have you, I say, an answer of such fitness for all questions?
From below your duke to beneath your constable, it will fit any question.
It must be an answer of most monstrous size that must fit all demands.
But a trifle neither in good faith, if the learned should speak truth of it. Here it is, and all that belongs to it. Ask me if I'm a courtier. It shall do you no harm to learn.
To be young again, if we could. I will be a fool in question, hoping to be the wiser by your answer. I pray you, sir, are you a courtier?
Oh, Lord, sir, there's a simple putting off. More, 100 of them.
Sir, I am a poor friend of yours that loves you.
Oh, Lord, sir, thick, spare not me.
I think, sir, you can eat none of this homely meat.
Oh, Lord, sir, nay, put me to it, I warrant you.
You were lately whipped, sir, as I think.
Oh, Lord, sir, spare not me.
Do you cry, oh, Lord, sir, at your whipping, and spare not me? Indeed, your oh, Lord, sir, is very sequent to your whipping. You would answer very well to a whipping if you were but bound to't.
I ne'er had worse luck in my life in my oh, Lord, sir. I see things may serve long, but not serve ever.
I play the noble housewife with the time to tend to entertain it so merrily with a fool.
Oh, Lord, sir, why there it serves well again.
And end, sir, to your business. Give Helen this, and urge her to a present answer back. Commend me to my kinsman and my son. This is not much.
Not much commendation to them.
Not much employment for you, you understand me.
Most fruitfully. I am there before my legs.
Haste you again.
To scene 3. Enter Count, Lafeu, and Parolles.
They say miracles are past, and we have our own philosophical persons to make modern and familiar things supernatural and causeless. Hence it is that we make trifles of terrors, ensconcing ourselves into seeming knowledge when we should admit to ourselves to an unknown fear.
Why, 'tis the rarest argument of wonder that hath shot out in our latter times.
And so 'tis.
'Tis to be relinquished of the artists.
So I say, both of Galen and Paracelsus.
Of all the learned and authentic fellows.
Right, so I say.
That get him out incurable.
Why, there 'tis, so I say too.
Not to be helped.
Right as 'twere a man assured of a
uncertain life and sure death.
Just, you say well, so would I have said.
I may truly say it is a novelty to the world.
It is indeed. If you will have it in showing, you shall read it in, what do you call there?
A showing of a heavenly effect in an earthly actor.
That's it. I would have said the very same.
Why, your dolphin is not lustier. For me, I speak in respects.
Nay, 'tis strange, 'tis very strange that is the brief and the tedious of it, and he's of a most fancierious spirit that will not acknowledge it to be
the very hand of heaven.
So I say.
In a moist, we
and devil minister. Great power, great transcendence, which should indeed give us a further use to be made than alone in the recovery of the king, as to be
generally thankful.
I would have said it.
Helen and attendants.
Well, here comes the king.
Lustig as the Dutchman says. I'll like a maid the better while I have a tooth in my head. Why, he's able to lead her a Caranto.
More de vinegar, is not this Helen?
Oh God, I think so.
Go, call before me all the lords in court. Sit, my preserver, by thy patient side, and with this healthful hand, whose banished sense thou hast repealed, a second time receive the confirmation of my promised gift, which but attends thy naming. Fair maid, send forth thine eye. This youthful apostle of noble bachelor stand at my bestowing, on whom both sovereign power and father's voice I have to use. Thy frank election make, thou hast power to choose, and they none to forsake.
To each of you one fair and virtuous mistress. Fall when love please, marry to each but one.
I'd give Bay Kirtle and his furniture, my mouth no more were broken than these boys, and rid his little beard.
Peruse them well, not one of those but had a noble father.
Gentlemen, heaven hath through me restored the king to health.
We understand it and thank heaven for
you.
I am a simple maid, and therein wealthiest that I protest I simply am a maid. Please it, your majesty, I have done already. The blushes in my cheeks thus whisper me, we blush that thou shouldst choose but be refused. Let the white death sit on thy cheek forever, will ne'er come again.
Make choice and see, who shuns thy love, shuns all his love in me.
Now, Diane, from thy altar do I fly, and to imperial love that God most high do my sighs stream. Sir, will you hear my suit?
And granted.
Thanks, sir, all the rest is mute.
I'd rather be in this choice than throw Ames ace for my life.
The honor, sir, that flames in your fair eyes before I speak too threateningly, replies, love makes your fortunes 20 times above her soul that wishes and her humble love.
If you please.
My wish receive, which great love grant, and so I take my leave.
Do they all deny her? And they were sons of mine, I'd have them whipped, or I would send them to the Turk to make eunuchs of.
Be not afraid that I your hand should take. I'll ne'er do you wrong for your own sake. Blessing upon your vows, and in your bed find fairer fortune if you ever wed.
These boys are boys of ice. They'll none have her. Sure, they are bastards to the English. The French ne'er got them.
Oh, sorry.
Hmm.
Love you?
You are too young, too happy, and too good to make yourself a son out of my blood.
Fair one, I think not so.
There's one grape yet. I am sure thy father drunk wine. But if thou be'st not an ass, I am a youth of 14. I have known thee already.
I dare not say I take you, but I give me and my service, ever whilst I live, into your guiding power. This is the man.
Why then, young Bertram, take her. She's thy wife.
My wife, my liege? I shall beseech your highness in such a business, give me leave to use the help of mine own eyes.
Knowest thou not, Bertram, what she has done for me?
Yes, my good lord, but never hope to know why I should marry her.
Thou knowest she has raised me from my sickly bed.
But follows it, my lord, to bring me down must answer for your raising? I know her well. She had her breeding at my father's charge. A poor physician's daughter, my wife. Disdain rather corrupt me ever.
'Tis only title thou disdainst in her, the which I can build up. Strange is it that our bloods of color, weight, and heat poured all together would quite confound distinction, yet stands off in differences so mighty. If she be all that is virtuous, save what thou dislikest, a poor physician's daughter, thou dislikest a virtue for the name, but do not so. From lowest place, when virtuous things proceed, the place is dignified by the doer's deed. Where great additions swells and virtue none, it is a dropsied honor. Good alone is good without a name. Vileness is so. The property by what it is should go, not by the title. She is young, fair, wise, fair. In these to nature, she's immediate heir, and these breed honor. That is honor's scorn, which challenges itself as honor's born and is not like the sire. Honors thrive when rather from our acts we them derive than our foregoers. The mere word's a slave, debauched on every tomb, on every grave, a lying trophy, and as oft is dumb where dust and damned oblivion, tomb of honored bones. What should be said? If thou canst like this creature as a maid, I can create the rest. Virtue and she is her own dower, honor and wealth from me.
I cannot love her, nor will strive to do it.
Thou wrongest thyself if thou shouldst strive to choose.
That you are well restored, my love. I am glad. Let me go. Let the rest go.
My honor's at the stake, which to defeat I must produce my power. Here, take her hand, proud, scornful boy, unworthy this good gift, that dost in vile misprision shackle up my love in her desert. That canst not dream we poising us in her defective scale shall weigh thee to the beam, that wilt not know it is in us to plant thine honor where we please to have it grow. Check thy contempt, obey our will which travails in thy good. Believe not thy disdain, but presently do thine own fortunes that obedience rate which both thy duty owes and our power claims, or I will throw thee from my care forever into the staggers and the careless lapse of youth and ignorance. Both my revenge and hate loosing upon thee in the name of justice without all terms of pity. Speak thine answer.
Pardon, my gracious lord, for I submit my fancy to your eyes when I consider what great creation and what dole of honor flies where you bid it. I find that she which late was in my nobler thoughts most base is now the praise of the king, who so ennobled is as 'twere born so.
Take her by the hand, and tell her she is thine, to whom I promise a counterpoise, if not to thy estate, a balance more replete.
I take her hand.
Good fortune and the favor of the king smile upon this contract, whose ceremony shall seem expedient on the now born brief and be performed tonight. The solemn feast shall more attend upon the coming space, expecting absent friends. As thou lovest her, thy love's to me religious, else dost err.
Paroles exeunt. Paroles and Lafew stay behind, commenting on this wedding.
Do you hear, monsieur? A word with you.
Your pleasure, sir.
Your lord and master did well to make his recantation.
Recantation? My lord? My master?
Is it not a language I speak?
A most harsh one, and not to be understood without bloody succeeding. My master?
Are you companion to the Count Rousillon?
To any count, to all counts, to what is man?
To what is Count's man? Count's master is of another style.
You are too old, sir. Let it satisfy you, you are too old.
I must tell thee, sirrah, I write man, to which title age cannot bring thee.
What I dare to well do, I dare not do.
I did think thee for two ordinaries to be a pretty wise fellow. Thou didst make terrible vent of thy travel, it might pass, yet the scarves and the bannerets about thee did manifoldly dissuade me from believing thee a vessel of too great a burden. I have now found thee. When I lose thee again, I care not. Yet art thou good for nothing but taking up, and that thou art scarce worth.
Hadst thou not the privilege of antiquity upon thee?
Do not plunge thyself too far in anger, lest thou hasten thy trial, which, if Lord have mercy on thee for a hen, so my good widow of lettuce, fare thee well. Thy casement I need not open, for I look through thee. Give me thy hand.
My lord, you give me most egregious indignity.
Aye, with all my heart, and thou art worthy of it.
I have not, my lord, deserved it.
Yes, good fate, every dram of it, and I will not bate thee a scruple.
Well, I shall be wiser.
Even as soon as thou canst, for thou hast to pull at a smack of the contrary. If ever thou beest proud in thy scarf and in thy bound in thy scarf and beaten, thou shalt find what it is to be proud of thy bondage. I have desired to hold my acquaintance with thee, or rather my knowledge, that I may say in the default, he is a man I know.
My lord, you do me most insupportable vexation.
I would with hell pains for thy sake, and my poor doing eternal. For doing I am past, as I will by thee, in what motion age will give me leave.
Well, thou as the sun shall take this disgrace off me. Scurvy, old, filthy, scurvy lord. Well, I must be patient. There is no fettering of authority. I can beat him by my life if I can meet with him any convenience. He were double and double a lord. I'll have no more pity of his age than I would have of. I'll beat him, and if I could but meet him again.
Enter Lafew.
Sirrah, your lord and master's married. There's news for you. You have a new mistress.
I most unfeignedly beseech your lordship to make some reservation of your wrongs. He is my good lord, whom I serve above, is my master.
Who? God?
Aye, sir.
The devil it is. That's thy master. Why dost thou garter up thy arms in this fashion, and dost make hose of thy sleeves? Do other servants so? Thou had best set thy lower part where thy nose stands. By mine honor, if I were but 2 hours younger, I'd beat thee. Methinks thou art a general offense, and every man should beat thee. I think thou wast created for men to breathe themselves upon thee.
This is hard and undeserved measure, my lord.
Oh, go to, sir. You were beaten in Italy for picking a kernel out of a pomegranate. You are a vagabond and no true traveler. You are more saucy with lords and honorable personages than the commission of your birth and virtue gives you heraldry. You're not worth another word, else I'd call you knave. I leave you.
Good. Very good. It is so then. Good. Very good. Let it be concealed a while.
Undone and forfeited to cares forever.
What's the matter, sweetheart?
Although before the solemn priest I have sworn, I will not bed her.
What? What, sweetheart?
Oh, my paroles, they have married me. I'll to the Tuscan wars and never bed her.
France is a dog hole, and it no more merits the tread of a man's foot. To the wars.
There's letters from my mother. What the import is, I know not yet.
Aye, that would be known. To the wars, my boy, to the wars. He wears his honor in a box unseen that hugs his kicky-wicky here at home, spending his manly marrow in her arms, which should sustain the bound and high curvet of Mars, fiery steed, to the other regions. France is a stable, we that dwell in it jades. Therefore, to the war.
It shall be so. I'll send her to my house, acquaint my mother with my hate to her, and wherefore I have fled, right to the king that which I durst not speak. His present gift shall furnish me to those Italian fields where noble fellows strike. Wars is no strife to the dark house and the detected wife.
Will this capriccio hold in thee, art sure?
Go with me to my chamber and advise me. I'll send her straight away. Tomorrow I'll to the wars, she to her single sorrow.
Why, these balls bound, there's noise in it. 'Tis hard a young man marry, it is a man that's marred. Therefore, away and leave her bravely. Go, the king has done you wrong. But hush, it's so.
My mother
Act
greets
2,
me
Scene
kindly.
4.
Is she well?
She is not well, but yet she has her health. She's very merry, but yet she is not well. But thanks be given, she's very well, and wants nothing in the world, but yet she is not well.
If she be very well, what does she ail that she's not very well?
Truly, she's very well indeed, but for 2 things.
Things.
1, that she's not in heaven, whither God sent her quickly. The other, that she's in earth, from whence God sent her quickly.
Enter Parolles.
Bless you, my fortunate lady.
I hope, sir, I have your goodwill to have mine own good fortune.
You had my prayers to lead them on and to keep them on, have them still. Oh, my knave, how does my old lady?
So that you had her wrinkles and I her money. I would she did as you say.
Why, I say nothing.
Marry, you are the wiser man, for many a man's tongue shakes out his master's undoing. To say nothing, to do nothing, to know nothing and to have nothing is to be a great part of your title, which is within a very little.
Away, thou art a knave.
You should have said, sir, before a knave. Thou'rt a knave. That's before me, thou'rt a knave. This had been truth, sir.
Go to, thou art a witty fool. I have found thee.
The search, sir, was profitable, and much fool may you find in you, even to the world's pleasure, and the increase of laughter.
Good nay, the faith and well fed. Madam, my lord will go away tonight. A very serious business calls on him. The great prerogative and right of love, which as your due time claims, he does acknowledge, but puts it off to a compelled restraint, whose want and whose delay is strewed with sweets, which they distill now in the curbed time, to make the common hour overflow with joy and pleasure drown the brim.
What's his will else?
That you will take your instant leave of the king, and make this haste as your own good proceeding, strengthen with what apology you think may make it probably need.
What more commands he?
That having this obtained, you presently attend his further pleasure.
In everything I wait upon his will.
I shall report it so.
I pray you come, sirrah.
Act 2, Scene 5, Lafew and Bertram.
I hope your lordship thinks not him a soldier.
Yes, my lord, and of very valiant a proof.
You have it from his own deliverance.
And by other warranted testimony?
Then my dial goes not true. I took this lark for a bunting.
I do assure you, my lord, he is very great in knowledge and accordingly valiant.
I have then sinned against his experience and transgressed against his valor, and my state that way is dangerous, since I cannot yet find in my heart to repent. Oh, here he comes. I pray you make us friends. I will pursue the amity.
These things shall be done, sir.
Pray you, sir, who's his tailor?
Sir?
Oh, I know him well. Sir, he, sir, is a good workman, a very good tailor.
Is she gone to the king?
She is.
Will she away tonight?
Yes, you'll have her.
I have writ my letters, casketed my treasure, given order for our horses, and tonight, when I should take possession of the bride, and ere I do begin.
A good traveler is something at the latter end of a dinner, but on that lies 3/3, and uses known truth to pass 1,000 nothings with. Should be once hard and thrice beaten. God save you, Captain.
Is there any unkindness between my lord and you, monsieur?
I know not how I have deserved to run into my lord's displeasure.
You have made shift to run into it, boots and spurs and all. Like him that leapt into the custard, and out of it you'll run again, rather than suffer question for your residence.
It may be you have mistaken him, my lord.
And shall do ever, though I took him at his prayers. Fare you well, my lord, and believe this of me. There can be no kernel in this light nut. The soul of this man is in his clothes. Trust him not in matters of heavy consequence. I have kept of them tame and know their natures. Farewell, monsieur. I have spoken better of you than you will have, or who you have or will deserve at my hand. But we must do good against evil.
An idle lord, I swear.
I think so.
Why, do you not know him?
Yes, I do know him well, and common speech gives him a worthy pass. Oh, here comes my clog.
Helena?
I have, sir, as I commanded from you, spoke with the king and have procured his leave for present parting. Only he desires some private speech with you.
I shall obey his will. You must not marvel, Helen, at my course, which holds not color with the time, nor does the ministration and required office on my particular. Prepared I was not for such a business, therefore am I found so much unsettled. This drives me to entreat you that presently you take your way for home, and rather muse than ask why I entreat you. For my respects are better than they seem, and my appointments have in them a need greater than shows itself at the first view, to you that know them not. This to my mother, 'twill be 2 days ere I shall see you, so I leave you to your wisdom.
Sir, I can nothing say but that I am your most obedient servant,
Come, no more of that.
and ever shall with true observance seek to eke out that wherein me, my homely states, have failed to equal my great fortune.
Let that go. My haste is very great. Farewell, hie home.
Pray, sir, your pardon.
Well, what would you say?
I am not worthy of the wealth I owe, nor dare I say 'tis mine, and yet it is. But like a timorous thief, most would steal what law does vouch mine own.
What would you have?
Something and scarce so much. Nothing indeed. I would not tell you what I would, my lord. Faith, yes. Strangers and foes do sunder and not kiss.
I pray you stay not, but in haste to horse.
I shall not break your bidding, good my lord. Where are my other men? Monsieur, farewell.
Go thou toward home, where I will never come, whilst I can shake my sword or hear the drum. Away, and for our flight.
Bravely, Coragio.
Act 3, Scene 1. Flourish. Enter the Duke of Florence and 2 Frenchmen with a troop of soldiers. All right, I'll just do the Duke. So that from point to point, now have you heard the fundamental reasons of this war, whose great decision hath much blood let forth and more thirsts after.
Wholly seems the quarrel upon your grace's part, black and fearful on the opposer.
Therefore, we marvel much our cousin France would in so just a business shut his bosom against our borrowing prayers.
Good my lord, the reasons of our state I cannot yield, but like a common and outward man, that the great figure of a council frames by self-unable motion, therefore dare not say what I think of it, since I have found myself in my uncertain grounds to fail as often as I guessed.
Be it his pleasure.
But I am sure the younger of our nature that surfeit on the ease will day by day come here for physic.
Welcome shall they be, and all the honors that can fly from us shall on them settle. You know your place as well. When better fall for your avails they fell, tomorrow to the field. Flourish. Act 3, Scene 2. Enter Countess and Clown.
It have happened all as I would have had it, say that he comes not along with her.
By my troth, I take my young lord to be a very melancholy man.
By what observance, I pray you?
Why, he will look upon his boot and sing, mend the ruff and sing, ask questions and sing, pick his teeth and sing. I know a man that had this trick of melancholy hold a goodly manner for a song.
Let me see what he writes and when he means to come.
I have no mind to Isbel since I was at court. Our old lings and our Isbels at the country are nothing like your old ling and your Isbels at the court. The brains of my Cupid's knocked out, and I begin to love as an old man loves money with no stomach.
What have we here?
And that you have there.
A letter. I have sent you a daughter-in-law. She hath recovered the king, and undone me. I have wedded her, not bedded her, and sworn to make the not eternal. You shall hear I am run away. Know it before the report come. If there be breadth enough in the world, I will hold a long distance. My duty to you, your unfortunate son, Bertram. I think this is the Countess. Countess?
This is not well, rash and unbridled boy, to fly the favors of so good a king, to pluck his indignation on thy head by the misprizing of a maid too virtuous for the contempt of empire.
Oh, madam, yonder is heavy news within between two soldiers and my young lady.
What is the matter?
Nay, there is some comfort in the news, some comfort. Your son will not be killed so soon as I thought he would.
Why should he be killed?
So say I, madam, if he run away, as I hear he does. The danger is in standing to it. That's the loss of men, though it be the getting of children. Here they come will tell you more. For my part, I only hear your son was run away.
Save you, good madam.
Madam, my lord is gone, forever gone.
Do not say so.
Think upon patience, pray you, gentlemen. I have felt so many quirks of joy and grief that the first face of neither on the start can woman me unto't. Where is my son, I pray you?
Oh, I just lost the PDF. Sorry, everybody. I'm almost there. Oh, we're on page 65, right? Yeah. Okay. Madam, he's gone to serve the Duke of Florence. We met him thitherward, for thence we came, and after some dispatch in hand at court, thither we bound again.
This letter, madam, here's my passport. When thou canst get the ring upon my finger, which never shall come off, and show me a child begotten of thy body, that I am father to, then call me husband. But in such, then I write her never. This is a dreadful sentence.
Brought you this letter, gentlemen?
Aye, madam, for the contents' sake are sorry for our pains.
I prithee, lady, have a better cheer. If thou engrossed, all the griefs are thine. Thou robb'st me of a moiety. He was my son, but I do wash his name out of my blood, and thou art all my child. Towards Florence, is he?
Aye, madam.
And to be a soldier.
Such is his noble purpose and believed. The Duke will lay upon him all the honor that good convenience claims.
Return you thither.
Aye, madam, with the swiftest wing of speed.
Till I have no wife, I have nothing in France. 'Tis bitter.
Find you that there?
Aye, madam.
'Tis but the boldness of his hand, haply, which his heart was not consenting to.
Nothing in France until he have no wife. There's nothing here that is too good for him, but only she, and she deserves a lord that 20 such rude boys might tent upon and call her hourly mistress. Who was with him?
Servant only, and a gentleman, which I have sometimes known.
Parolles, was it not?
Aye, my good lady, he.
Oh, very tainted fellow and full of wickedness. My son corrupts a well-derived nature with his inducement.
Indeed, good lady, the fellow has a deal of that too much, which holds him much to have.
You're welcome, gentlemen. I will entreat you when you see my son to tell him that his sword can never win the honor that he loses. More, I'll entreat you written to bear along.
Serve you, madam, in that and all your worthiest affairs.
Not so, but as we change our courtesies, will you draw near?
Till I have no wife, I have nothing in France. Nothing in France until he has no wife. Thou shalt have none, Rousillon, none in France. Then hast thou all again. Poor Lord, it is I that chase thee from thy country and expose those tender limbs of thine to the extent of the non-sparring war. And is it I that drive thee from the sportive court, where thou wast shot at with fair eyes, to be the mark of smoky muskets? Oh, you leaden messengers that ride upon the violent speed of fire, fly with false aim, move the still peering air that sings with piercing. Do not touch my lord. Whoever shoots at him, I set him there. Whoever charges on his forward breast, I am the caitiff that do hold him to it, and though I killed him not, I am the cause. His death was so affected. Better 'twere I met the raven lion when he roared with sharp constraint of hunger. Better 'twere that all the miseries which heaven owes were mine at once. Now come thou home, Rousillon, whence honor, but of danger wins a scar, and oft it loses all. I will be gone. My being here that hold thee hence, shall I stay here it is that holds thee hence. The air of paradise did fan the house, and angels officed all. I will be gone. That pitiful room worked my flight to consolate thine ease. Come night and day, for with the dark, poor thief, I'll steal away.
Exit Act 3, Scene 3. Flourish. Enter the Duke of Florence, Rousillon, drum and trumpet, soldiers, Parolles.
The general of our horse thou art, and we, great in our hope, lay our best love and credence upon thy promising fortune.
Sir, it is a charge too heavy for my strength, but yet we'll strive to bear it for your worthy sake, to the extreme edge of hazard.
Then go thou forth, and fortune play upon thy prosperous helm as thy auspicious mistress.
This very day, great Mars, I put myself into thy file. Make me but like my thoughts, and I shall prove a lover of thy drum, hater of love.
Okay, that's the end of the first half, everybody. I think we should take 5 minutes if you don't mind.
Yeah. Sorry, my had a little freeze. Sometimes that happens. Sorry to keep you waiting.
All right. Sorry, Virginia. I'm getting a little confused by all these blasted laws.
I know. I apologize. I just jumping in sometimes when maybe I shouldn't.
No. I think you're. I feel like I was doing that. Nevertheless,
It's not easy, man.
Take a break here.
And I really apologize to everybody. I think I've got the hang of it better now. For quite a while, I thought I was getting the mute and unmute right, and I wasn't. So.
Well, sometimes the ellipsis sticks, and this, I just got not just, but like a few months ago, got a new laptop. And especially if you're trying to be overridden by, like say Norton, like I have Norton, but McAfee rides itself in very aggressively, and that stops your ellipsis from responding.
Oh, John.
I'm going to have to call them. I'm going to have to call them tomorrow night.
Yeah.
But yeah, tech is, as Paula Hosa says, when it works, it's great. When it doesn't, not so great.
Well, I think we all are doing splendidly. You know, I don't know what it is about this play that there's nobody in it that's really all that likable. I don't know. Maybe that's what I like about it. And I really love the poetry is so advanced, and
yeah, the poetry is interesting.
I just really keep really liking this play.
Yeah, I love it more and more.
Yeah.
Turning my camera off.
And even though we've had so much drama behind the scenes, you know, and getting moved from live and finding enough people, this is such a great company, Instant Shakespeare. We just keep on pulling it off time after time.
Yay.
Boy, you know what? I really, really love a lot of the language like Parolles has, like the thing about virginity about the cheese. And the French sickly pears, and when he's got that one line, "Kicky Wicky." I just love it.
That was a big deal in those days, apparently. I mean, we think we're so chic and raunchy. No, they beat us to it.
Absolutely uncouth.
When was this written? I forget. This is written like right around when I think Queen Elizabeth was gone, and well, no, it was a couple of years after that. After James the First.
We're not really sure. We're not sure.
So there was a really big change going on.
Yeah, it was either sort of probably near the end of Elizabeth's life or the beginning of James. But it really was interesting that it was sort of kind of the last of the sort of regular comedies he did, because the comedies he did after this, like Winter's Tale and Tempest and other are much more sort of the romance, or what scholars classify as the romances.
Yeah.
Yeah, really big on stagecraft.
Yeah.
Because he had the indoor space then, and
he was getting sort of a wintry in his temperament.
yeah, you could really feel that transition in this play, and it's fitting that we're doing it now that the cold weather's coming in too.
I just read it's based on a Decameron story.
What?
Based on a Decameron story.
Oh yeah, which I still haven't read and I need to read.
Very interesting. They give the year, the date, and which Decameron story. I'll find it for you.
Boccaccio. Yeah, that's like the 1200s. It was written, or the 1300s. It's kind of like Canterbury Tales, except in England. A bunch of
Boccaccio's
not as old as Canterbury. I think.
1566.
Sorry.
Well, that's the translation, maybe. But the actual Decameron was written a few hundred years before that, right? In Italy.
The source of the main plot is the 9th novel of the 3rd day of Boccaccio's Decameron.
Right.
Which is probably known to Shakespeare in Painter's Palace of Pleasure, which that was from 1566. But yeah, he based this play on that particular piece.
Yeah, and the Decameron, there's so much in the Decameron, I guess, which I still haven't read any of it. Shame on me. About the plague, and just horribly uncertain times.
Right?
Which is very relevant to us now.
I'm gonna mute myself.
Is my sound okay? I forgot to adjust it before.
Hi, Cynthia.
Hi.
Are you why are you at Ripley Greer again? You have an audition or a class or something?
I have a performance. I'm doing a mime piece.
You're doing a what?
I'm doing a mime piece.
Performing it there?
Yeah, I'm performing in a show.
Oh, cool. Oh, wow. With that in mind, I really appreciate you participating. That's really good of you. All right, so maybe we should resume. We are a little more than half through the text. What time is it? I'll be right back. Okay, so it's 2:40, which means we probably maybe have another hour and a half to go. So maybe we should get going. Oh, another thing. I guess I'll keep saying the beginnings of each scene, but I think it's really dopey of me to say enter blah blah, exit blah blah. That can just be seen when you all do that with your videos. So I'm not gonna, especially within the scenes, I'm not gonna do that anymore. Okay, so here we go, starting on Act 3, Scene 4. Enter the Countess and Steward.
Alas, and would you take the letter of her? Might you not know she would do as she has done by sending me a letter? Read it again.
I am St. Jacques Pilgrim, thither gone. Ambitious love hath so in me offended that barefoot plod I the cold ground upon. With sainted vow my faults to have amended. Write that from the bloody course of war, my dearest master, your dear son, may hie. Bless him at home in peace, whilst I from far his name with zealous fervor sanctify. His taken labors bid him me forgive. I, his despiteful Juno, sent him forth from courtly friends, with camping foes to live, where death and danger dogs the heels of worth. He is too good and fair for death, and me, whom I myself embrace, to set him free. That's you, Countess.
Ah, what sharp stings are in her mildest words. Ronaldo, you did never lack advice so much as letting her pass so. Had I spoke with her, I could have well diverted her intents, which thus she hath prevented.
Pardon me, madam. If I had given you this overnight, she might have been overtaken. And yet she writes pursuit would be but vain.
What angel shall bless this unworthy husband? He cannot thrive unless her prayers, whom heaven delights to hear and loves to grant, reprieve him from the wrath of greatest justice. Write, Rinaldo, to this unworthy husband of this wife. Let every word weigh heavy of her worth, that he does weigh too light. My greatest grief, though little he do feel it, set down sharply. Dispatch the most convenient messenger. When haply he shall hear that she is gone, he will return. And hope I may that she, hearing so much, will speed her foot again, led hither by pure love. Which of them both is dearest to me? I have no skill in sense to make distinction. Provide this messenger. My heart is heavy, and mine age is weak. Grief would have tears, and sorrow bids me speak.
Exeunt. Act 3, Scene 5. A tucket. That means drums and trumpets. Enter old widow of Florence, her daughter Violenta, and Mariana with other citizens. Nay, come. Nay, come. For if they do approach the city, we shall lose all of the sight.
They say the French count has done most honorable service.
It's reported that he hath taken their greatest commander, that with his own hand he slew the duke's brother. We have lost our labor. They are gone a contrary way. Hark, you may know by their trumpets.
You have a Maria?
Mariana, I think that's you, Kitty.
Maria is me?
Yeah.
All right. I didn't say anywhere, but come, let's return again and suffice ourselves with the report of it. Well, Diana, take heed of this French earl. The honor of a maid is her name, and no legacy is so rich as honesty.
I have told my neighbor how you have been solicited by a gentleman, his companion.
Oh, I know that knave. Hang him. One Parolles, a filthy officer. He is in the suggestions for the young earl. Beware of them, Diana. Their promises, enticements, oaths, tokens, and all these engines of lust are not the things they go under. Many a maid hath been seduced by them, and the misery is example that so terrible shows in the rack of maidenhood cannot for all that dissuade succession, but they are limed with the twigs that threatens them. I hope I need not to advise you further, but I hope your own grace will keep you where you are, though there were no further danger known, but the modesty which is so lost.
You shall not need to fear me.
I hope so. Look, here comes a pilgrim. I know she will lie at my house. Thither they send one another. I'll question her. God save you, pilgrim. Whither are you bound?
To St. Jacques le Grand. Where to the Palmer's Lodge, I do beseech you.
The St. Francis, here, beside the port.
Is this the way?
I marriest. Hark you, they come this way. If you will tarry, holy pilgrim, but till the troops come by, I will conduct you where you shall be lodged. The rather, for I think I know your hostess as ample as myself.
Is it yourself?
If she so please, so, pilgrim.
I thank you and will stay upon your leisure.
You came, I think, from France?
I did so.
Here you shall see a countryman of yours that hath done worthy service.
His name, I pray you.
Count Basilian.
Basilian. Know you such a one?
But by the ear that hears most nobly of him, his face I know not.
Whatsoever he is, he's bravely taken here. He stole from France, as 'tis reported, for the king had married him against his liking. Think you it is so?
Surely near the truth I know his lady.
There is a gentleman that serves the count, reports but coarsely of her.
What's his name?
Monsieur Parolles.
Oh, I believe with him in argument of praise or to the worth of the great count himself. She's too mean to have her name repeated. All her deserving is a reserved honesty, and that I have not heard examined.
Alas, poor lady, 'tis a hard bondage to become the wife of a detesting lord.
Aye, right, good creature. Wheresoe'er she is, her heart weighs sadly. This young maid might do her a shrewd turn, if she pleased.
How do you mean? May it be the amorous counsel solicits her in this unlawful purpose?
It does indeed, and brokes with all that can in such a suit corrupt the tender honor of a maid. But she is armed for him, and keeps her guard in honestest defense. The gods forbid else. So now they come. That is Antonio, the Duke's eldest son. That Aeschylus.
Which is the Frenchman?
He, that
That
with the plume.
Oh,
'Tis a most gallant fellow. I would he loved his wife. If he were honester, he were much goodlier. Is it not a handsome gentleman?
I like him well.
'Tis pity he is not honest. Yon's that same knave that leads him to these places. Were I his lady, I would poison that vile rascal.
Which is he?
That jackanapes with scarves. Why is he melancholy?
Perchance he's hurt in the battle.
Lose our drum? Well,
He's shrewdly vexed for something. Look, he has spied us.
I hang you!
And your courtesy for a ring carrier.
The troop is past. Come, pilgrim, I will bring you where you shall host. Of enjoined penitents, there's 4 or 5. To great Saint Jacques bound, already at my house.
I humbly thank you. Please at this matron and gentle maid to eat with us tonight. The charge and thanking shall be for me, and to requite you further, I shall bestow some precepts of this virgin worthy the note.
Take your offer kindly. Act 3, Scene 6. Enter Count Rousillon and the Frenchman as at first.
Nay, good my lord, put him to it. Let him have his way.
If your lordship find him not a hilding, hold me no more in your respect.
My life, my lord, a bubble.
Do you think I am so far deceived in him?
Leave it, my lord, in mine own direct knowledge, without any malice, but to speak of him as my kinsman, he's a most notable coward, an infinite and endless liar, an hourly promise breaker, the owner of no one good quality worthy your lordship's entertainment.
If it were fit you knew him, it were fit you knew him, least reposing too far in his virtue, which he hath not, he might at some great and trusty business, in a main danger, fail you.
I would I knew in what particular action to try him.
None better than to let him fetch off his drum, which you hear him so confidently undertake to do.
I, with a troop of Florentines, will suddenly surprise him. Such I will have, whom I am sure he knows not from the enemy. We will bind and hoodwink him, so that he shall suppose no other but that he is carried into the leaguer of the adversaries. When we bring him to our own tent, but be but your lordship present at his examination, if he do not, for the promise of his life, and in the highest compulsion of base fear, offer to betray you and deliver all the intelligence in his power against you, and that the divine forfeit of his soul, upon oath, never trust my judgment in anything.
Oh, for the love of laughter, let him fetch his drum. He says he has stratagem for it. When your lordship sees the bottom of this success in it, and to what metal this counterfeit lump of ours will be melted if you give him not John's drum entertainment, your inclining cannot be removed. Here he comes.
For the love of laughter, hinder not the honor of his design. Let him fetch off his drum in any hand.
How now, monsieur? This drum sticks sorely in your disposition.
A pox on it. Let it go. 'Tis but a drum.
A drum? It's but a drum? A drum so lost. There was excellent command to charge in with our horse upon our own wings and to rend our own soldiers.
It was not to be blamed in the command of the service. It was a disaster of war that Caesar himself could not have prevented if he had been there to command.
Well, we cannot greatly condemn our success. Some dishonor we had in the loss of that drum, but it is not to be recovered.
It might have been recovered.
It might, but it is not now.
It is to be recovered, but that the merit of service is seldom attributed to the true and exact performer. I would have that drum or another, or yes, say.
Why, if you have a stomach to it, monsieur, if you think your mystery in stratagem can bring this instrument of honor again into his native quarter, be magnanimous in the enterprise and go on. I will grace the attempt for a worthy exploit. If you speed well in it, the Duke shall both speak of it and extend to you what further becomes his greatness, even to the utmost syllable of your worthiness.
By the hand of a soldier, I will undertake it.
But you must not now slumber in it.
I'll about it this evening, and I will presently pen down my dilemmas, encourage myself in my certainty, put myself into my mortal preparation, and by midnight look to hear further from me.
May I be bold to acquaint his grace you are gone about it?
I know not what the success will be, my lord, but the attempt I vow.
I know thou art valiant, and to the possibility of thy soldiership we'll subscribe for thee. Farewell.
I love not many words.
No more than a fish loves water. Is not this a strange fellow, my lord, that so confidently seems to undertake this business, which he knows is not to be done, damns himself to do, and dares better be damned than to do it?
You do not know him, my lord, as we do. Certain it is that he will steel himself into a man's favor, and for a week escaped a great deal of discoveries. But when you find him out, you have him ever after.
Why do you think he will make no deed at all of this that so seriously he does address himself unto?
None in the world, but return with an invention and clap upon you 2 or 3 probable lies. But we have almost embossed him. You shall see his fall tonight, for indeed he is not for your lordship's respect.
We'll make you some sport with the fox ere we case him. He was first smoked by the old Lord Lafew when his disguise, and he is parted. Tell me what a sprat you shall find him when you shall see this very night.
I must look to my twigs. He shall be caught.
To your brother he shall go along with me.
Please, your lordship, I'll leave you.
Now will I lead you to the house and show you the lass I spoke of.
But you say she's honest.
That's all the fault. I spoke with her but once, and found her wondrous cold. But I sent to her by this same coxcomb that we have in the wind tokens and letters, which she did resend. And this is all I have done. She's a fair creature. Will you go see her?
With all my heart, my lord.
If you misdoubt that I am not she, I know not how I shall assure you further, but I shall lose the grounds I work upon.
Though my estate be fallen, I was well born, nothing acquainted with these businesses, and would not put my reputation now in any staining act.
Nor would I wish you. First give me trust. The Count, he is my husband. And what to your sworn counsel I have spoken is so from word to word. And then you cannot, by the good aid that I of you shall borrow, err in bestowing it.
I should believe you, for you have showed me that which well approves your great infortune.
Take this purse of gold, and let me buy your friendly help thus far, which I will overpay and pay again when I have found it. The Count, he woos your daughter, lays down his wanton sledge before her beauty, resolved to carry her, lets her in fine consent as we'll direct her how. 'Tis best to bear it. Now, his important blood will not deny that she demand a ring the Count wears. The downward hath succeeded in his house from son to son, some 4 or 5 descents since the first father wore it. This ring he holds in most rich choice, Yet in his idle fire, to buy his will it would not seem too dear, howe'er repented after.
Now I see the bottom of your purpose.
You see it lawful then, it is no more, but that your daughter, ere she seems won, desires this ring, appoints him an encounter, in fine delivers me to fill the time, herself most chastely absent after to marry her. I'll add 3,000 crowns to what is past already.
Oh, I have yielded. Instruct my daughter how she shall persevere. That time and place, which this deceit so lawful may prove coherent. Every night he comes with musics of all sorts and songs composed to her unworthiness. If nothing steeds us to chide him from our eaves, for he persists as if his life lay on it.
Why then tonight let us essay our plot, which if its speed is wicked meaning in a lawful deed, and lawful meaning in a lawful act, were both not sin, and yet a sinful fact. But let's about it.
4. Scene 1. Enter one of the Frenchmen with 5 or 6 other soldiers in ambush.
Come no other way but by this hedge corner. When you sally upon him, speak what terrible language you will, though you understand it not yourselves, no matter, for we must not seem to understand him unless someone among us whom we must produce for an interpreter.
Good captain, let me be the interpreter.
Art not acquainted with them? Knows he not thy voice?
No, sir, I warrant you.
But what linsey-woolsey hast thou to speak to us again?
And such as you speak to me.
He must think us some band of strangers in the adversary's entertainment. Now, he hath a smack of all neighboring languages. Therefore, we must every one be a man of his own fancy, not to know what we speak one to another, so we seem to know is to know straight to our purpose. Chuff's language, gabble enough and good enough. As for your interpreter, you must seem very politic. But couch ho, here he comes, to beguile 2 hours in a sleep, and then to return and swear the lies he forges.
No, 10 o'clock. Within these 3 hours, 'twill be time enough to go home. What shall I say I have done? It must be a very blossom invention that carries it. They begin to smoke me, and disgraces have of late knocked too often at my door. If I find my tongue is too foolhardy, but my heart hath the fear of Mars before it, and of his creatures, not daring reports of my tongue.
This is the first truth that there ere thine own tongue was guilty of.
What but devil should move me to undertake the recovery of this drum, being not ignorant of the impossibility, and knowing I had no such purpose? I must give myself some hurts and say I got them in exploit. Yet slight ones will not carry it. They will say, came you off with so little, and great ones I dare not give, wherefore what's the instance? John, I must put you into a butter woman's mouth, and buy myself another of Beazeth's mule if you prattle me into these barrels.
Is it possible he should know what he is and be that he is?
I would the cutting of my garments would serve the turn, or the breaking of my Spanish sword.
We cannot afford you so.
Or the baring of my beard, and to say it was in stratagem.
Would not do.
Or to drown my clothes and say I was stripped.
Hardly serve.
Though I swore I leapt from the window of a citadel.
How deep?
30 fathom.
3 great oaths would scarce make that be believed.
I would had any drum of the enemies. I would swear I recovered it.
You shall hear one anon.
A drum now of the enemies.
Trocamorosus cargo, cargo, cargo.
Cargo, cargo.
Cargo, cargo.
Ilianda por corbo, cargo.
I know you are the Musco's regiment, and I shall lose my life for want of language. If there be here German or Dane, or Low Dutch, Italian, or French, let him speak to me. I'll discover that which shall undo the Florentine.
Oscos vivando. I understand thee and can speak thy tongue. Care Albionto, sir, betake thee to thy faith, for 17 poniards are at thy bosom.
Oh,
Oh, pray, moncare vanco dulce.
Oscar Bidocols Volivorco.
General is content to spare thee yet, and hoodwinked as thou art, we lead thee on together from thee. Haply thou mayst inform something to save thy life.
oh, let me live. And all the secrets of our camps I'll show, their force, their purposes. Nay, I'll speak that which you will wonder at.
Wilt thou faithfully?
If I do not, damn me.
Accordolinta, come on, thou art granted space.
Go tell the Count Rousillon and my brother we have caught the woodcock and will keep him till we do hear from them.
Then I will.
I will betray all, he will betray all unto ourselves. Inform on that.
So I will, sir.
I will,
And
sir.
then I'll keep him dark and safely locked.
Act 4, Scene 2. Enter Bertram and Diana.
They told me that your name was Fontybell?
No, my good lord, Diana.
Titled goddess, and worth it with addition. But fair soul, in your fine frame hath love no quality? If the quick fire of youth light not your mind, you are no maiden, but a monument. When you are dead, you should be such a one as you are now, for you are cold and stern. And now you should be as your mother was when your sweet self was got.
She then was honest.
So should you be.
No, my mother did but duty, such, my lord, as you owe to your wife.
No more of that. I prithee, do not strive against my vows. I was compelled to her, but I love thee by love's own sweet constraint, and will forever do thee all rights of service.
Aye, so you serve us till we serve you? But when you have our roses, you barely leave our thorns to prick ourselves and mock us with our bareness.
How have I sworn?
'Tis not the many oaths that makes the truth, but the plain single vow that is vowed true. What is not holy, that we swear not by, but take the highest to witness? Then pray you tell me, if I should swear by Jove's great attributes I loved you dearly, would you believe my oaths when I did love you ill? This has no holding to swear by him whom I protest to love that I will work against him. Therefore, your oaths are words and poor conditions, but unsealed, at least in my opinion.
Change it, change it. Be not so wholly cruel. Love is holy, and my integrity ne'er knew the crafts that you do charge men with. Stand no more off, but give thyself unto my sick desires, who then recovers. Say thou art mine, and ever my love as it begins shall so persever.
I see that men make ropes in such a scare that we'll forsake ourselves. Give me that ring.
I'll lend it thee, my dear, but have no power to give it from me.
Will you not, my lord?
It is an honor longing to our house, bequeathed down from many ancestors, which were the greatest obloquy in the world, in me to lose.
Mine honor such a ring. My chastity's the jewel of our house, bequeathed down from many ancestors, which were the greatest obloquy in the world, and me to lose. Thus, your own proper wisdom brings in the champion honor on my part against your vain assault.
Here, take my ring, my house, mine honor. Yea, my life be thine, and I'll be bid by thee.
When midnight comes, knock at my chamber window. I'll order take, my mother shall not hear. Now will I charge you in the band of truth. When you have conquered my yet maiden bed, remain there but an hour, nor speak to me. My reasons are most strong, and you shall know them. When back again this ring shall be delivered, and on your finger in the night I'll put another ring, that what in time proceeds may token to the future our past deeds. Adieu till then fail not. You have won a wife of me, though there my hope be done.
A heaven on earth I have won by wooing thee.
For which live long to thank both heaven and me. You may.
Act 4, scene. Wait. No. Did you guys quite finish? Yeah.
Woo.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, Act 4, Scene 3. Enter the 2 French captains and
No,
some.
I didn't finish.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay,
He says, a heaven on earth I have won by wooing thee. I say, for which live long to thank both heaven and me, you may so in the end. My mother told me just how he would woo, as if she sat in his heart. She says all men have the like oaths. He had sworn to marry me when his wife's dead. Therefore I'll lie with him when I am buried. Since Frenchmen are so braid, marry that I will, I live and die a maid. Only in this disguise I think it no sin to cozen him that would unjustly win.
Act 4, Scene 3. Enter the 2 French captains and some 2 or 3 soldiers. You had not given him his mother's letter.
I have delivered it an hour since. There is something in it that stings his nature, for on the reading it, he changed almost into another man.
He has much worthy blame laid upon him for shaking off so good a wife and so sweet a lady.
Especially he hath incurred the everlasting displeasure of the king, who had even tuned his bounty to sing happiness to him. I will tell you a thing, but you shall let it dwell darkly with you.
When you have spoken it, 'tis dead, and I am the grave of it.
He hath perverted a young gentlewoman here in Florence of a most chaste renown, and this night he fleshes his will in the spoil of her honor. He hath given her his monumental ring, and thinks himself made in the unchaste composition.
Now God delay our rebellion as we are ourselves. What things are we?
Merely our own traitors, and as in the common course of all treasons, we still see them reveal themselves till they attained their abhorred ends. So he that in this action contrives against his own nobility in his proper stream o'erflows himself.
Is it not meant damnable in us to be trumpeters of our unlawful intents? We shall not then have his company tonight?
Not till after midnight, for he is dieted to his hour.
That approaches apace. I would gladly have him see his company anatomized, that he might take a measure of his own judgments, wherein so curiously he had set this counterfeit.
We will not meddle with him till he come, for his presence must be the whip of the other.
In the meantime, what hear you of these wars?
I hear there is an overture of peace.
Nay, I assure you, a peace concluded.
What will Count Rosillion do then? Will he travel higher or return again to France?
I perceive by this demand you are not altogether of his counsel.
Let it be forbid, sir, so should I be a great deal of his act.
Sir, his wife some 2 months since fled from his house. Her pretense is a pilgrimage to Saint Jacques le Grand, which holy undertaking with most austere sanctimony she accomplished. And there residing, the tenderness of her nature became as a prey to her grief. In fine, made a groan of her last breath. And now she sings in heaven.
How is this justified?
The stronger part of it by her own letters, which makes her story true, even to the point of her death. Her death itself, which could not be her office to say is come, was faithfully confirmed by the rector of the place.
Hath the Count all this intelligence?
Aye, and the particular confirmations point from point to the full arming of the verity.
I'm heartily sorry that he'll be glad of this.
How mightily sometimes we make us comforts of our losses.
And how mightily some other times we drown our gains in tears. The great dignity that his valor hath here acquired for him shall at home be encountered with as shame as ample.
The web of our life is of a mingled yarn, good and ill together. Our virtues would be proud if our faults whipped them not, and our crimes would despair if they were not cherished by our virtues. How now? Where's your master? He met the Duke in the street, sir, of whom he hath taken a solemn leave. His lordship will next morning for France. The Duke hath offered him letters of commendations to the king.
They shall be no more than needful there, if they were more than they can commend.
It cannot be too sweet for the king's tartness. Here's his lordship now. My lord, is it not after midnight?
I have tonight dispatched 16 businesses, a month's length apiece by an abstract of success. I have congeed with the Duke, done my adieu with his nearest, buried a wife, mourned for her, writ to my lady mother. I am returning, entertained my convoy, and between these many parcels of dispatch effected many nicer needs. The last was the greatest, but that I have not ended yet.
If the business be of any difficulty, and this morning your departure hence requires haste of your lordship.
I mean, the business is not ended, as fearing to hear of it hereafter, but shall we have this dialogue between the fool and the soldier? Come, bring forth this counterfeit module. He's deceived me like a double-meaning prophesier.
Bring him forth. Has stayed in the stocks all night, poor gallant knave.
No matter, his heels have deserved it in usurping his spurs so long. How does he carry himself?
I told your lordship already, the stocks carry him. But to answer you as you would be understood, he weeps like a wench that had shed her milk. He hath confessed himself to Morgan, whom he supposes to be a friar, for the time of his remembrance to this very instant disaster of his setting of the stocks. And what think you he hath confessed?
Nothing of me, has he?
His confession is taken, and it shall be read to his face. If your lordship be in it, as I believe you are, you must have the patience to hear it.
The plague upon him. Muffled. He can say nothing of me. Hush, hush.
Woodman comes, Pontororosa. He calls for the tortures. What will you say without him?
I will confess what I know without constraint. If you pinch me like a pasty, I can say no more.
Bosco Kimurko.
Boblebindo Kikormurko.
You are a merciful general. Our general bids you answer to what I shall ask you out of a note.
And truly, as I hope to live.
First, demand of him how many horse the Duke is strong. What say you to that?
5 or 6,000, but very weak and unserviceable. The troops are all scattered, and the commanders very poor rogues. Upon my reputation and credit, as I hope to live.
Will I sit down your answer, so?
Do, I'll take the sacrament on it, how and which way you will. All's one to him.
What a past-saving slave is this?
You are deceived, my lord. This is Monsieur Paroles, the gallant militarist. That was his own phrase, that had the whole theory of war in the knot of his scarf and the practice in the shape of his dagger.
I will never trust a man again for keeping his sword clean, nor believe that he can have everything in him by wearing his apparel neatly.
Well, that's sit down.
5 or 6,000 horse. I said, I will say true, or thereabouts, set down, for I'll speak truth.
He's very near the truth in this.
But I con him no thanks, for the nature he delivers it.
Poor rogues, I pray you say.
Well, that's set down.
I humbly thank you, sir. Truth's the truth. The rogues are marvelous poor.
Command of him what strength they are afoot. What say you to that?
By my troth, sir, if I were to live this present hour, I will tell true. Let me see. Spurio, 150. Sebastian, so many. Carambus, so many. Jacques, so many. Gultian, Cosmo, Lodowick, and Grati, 250 each. Mine own company, Jitfer, Valman, and Benti, 250 each. So that the muster file, rotten and sound, upon my life amounts to no 15,000 pole, half of the which dare not shake the snow from off their cassocks, lest they shake themselves to pieces.
What shall be done to him?
Nothing, but let him have thanks. Demand of him my condition, and what credit I have with the Duke. Well, that's set down. You shall demand of him whether one Captain Dumaine be in the camp, a Frenchman, what his reputation is with the Duke, what his valor, honesty, and expertness in wars, or whether he thinks it were not possible with well-weighing sums of gold to corrupt him to a revolt. What say you to this? What do you know of it?
I beseech you, let me answer to the particular of the interrogatories that demand them singly.
You know this Captain Dumaine?
I know him. Was a butcher's apprentice in Paris, from whence he was whipped for getting the Shreve's fool with child, a dumb innocent that could say not to him nay.
But nay, by your leave hold your hands, though I know his brains are forfeit to the next tile that falls.
Well, is this captain in the Duke of Florence's camp?
Upon my knowledge, he is, and lousy.
Nay, look not so upon me. We shall hear of your lord anon. What is his reputation with the Duke?
The Duke knows him for no other but a poor officer of mine, and writ me this other day to turn him out of the band. I think I have his letter in my pocket.
Marry, we'll search.
In good sadness, I do not know. Either it is there, or it is upon a file with the Duke's other letters in my tent.
Oh, here it is. Here's a paper. Shall I read it to you?
I do not know if it be it or no.
Our interpreter does it well.
Excellently. Diane, the Count's a fool, and full of gold.
That is not the Duke's letter, sir. That is an advertisement to a proper maid in Florence, one Diana, to take heed of the allurement of one Count Rosselon, a foolish idle boy, but for all that very rottish. I pray you, sir, put it up again.
Hey, I'll read it first, by your favor.
My meaning in it, I protest, was very honest in the behalf of the maid, for I knew the young count to be a dangerous and lascivious boy who is a whale to virginity and devours up all the fry it finds.
Damnable both sides rogue.
Let when he swears oaths, bid him drop gold and take it after he scores. He never pays the score. Half one is match well made, match and well make it. He ne'er pays after debts. Take it before, and say a soldier, Diana, told thee this. Men are to mell with, boys are not to kiss. For count of this, the count's a fool, I know it, who pays before, but not when he does owe it. Thine as he vowed to thee in thine ear, powerless.
He shall be whipped through the army with this rhyme in his forehead.
This is your devoted friend, sir, the manifold linguist and the army potent soldier.
I could endure anything before but a cat, and now he's a cat to me.
I perceive, sir, by your general's looks, we shall be fain to hang you.
My life, sir, in any case, not that I am afraid to die, but that my offenses being many, I would repent out the remainder of nature. Let me live, sir, in a dungeon in the stocks or anywhere, so I may live.
We'll see what may be done, so you confess freely. Therefore, once more to this Captain Domain, you have answered to his reputation with the Duke and to his valor. What is his honesty?
He was still, sir, an egg out of a cloister for rapes and ravishments. He parallels Nessus. He professes not keeping of oaths. In breaking them, he is stronger than Hercules. He will lie, sir, with such volubility that you would think truth were a fool. Drunkenness is his best virtue, for he will be swine drunk, and in his sleep he does little harm save to his bedclothes about him. But they know his conditions and lay him in straw. I have but little more to say, sir, of his honesty, but he has everything that an honest man should not have. What an honest man should have, he has nothing.
I begin to love him for this.
For the description of thine honesty? A pox upon him for me. He's more and more a cat.
What say you to his expertness in war?
Faith, sir, has led the drum before the English tragedians. To belie him I will not, and more of his soldiership I know not, except in that country he had the honor to be the officer at a place there called Mile End to instruct for the doubling of files. I would do the man what honor I can, but of this I am not certain.
Yeah, villainy so far. Yet the rarity redeems him.
A pox on him, he's a cat still.
His qualities being at this poor price, I need not to ask you if gold will corrupt him to revolt.
Sir, for a courtesive he was sold a fee simple of his salvation, the inheritance of it, and cut the entail from all remainders, and a perpetual succession for it perpetually.
What's his brother, the other Captain Dumain?
Why does he ask him of me?
What's he?
He and a crow are the same nest. Not altogether so great as the first in goodness, but greater a great deal in evil. He excels his brother for a coward, yet his brother is reputed one of the best that is. In a retreat, he outruns any lackey. Marry, in coming on, he has the cramp.
If your life be saved, will you undertake to betray the Florentine?
I am the captain of his horse, Count Rosselon.
I'll whisper with the general and know his pleasure.
Oh, I'll no more drumming. A plague of all drums, only to seem to deserve well and to beguile the supposition of that lascivious young boy, the Count, have I run into this danger. Yet who would have suspected an ambush where I was taken?
There is no remedy, sir, but you must die. The general says, you have so traitorously discovered the secrets of your army and made such pestiferous reports of men very nobly held can serve the world for no honest use. Therefore you must die. Come, headsman, off with his head.
Oh, Lord, sir, let me live, or let me see my death.
That shall you, and take your leave of all your friends. So, look about you. Know you any here?
Good morrow, noble captain.
God bless you, Captain Parolles.
God save you, noble captain.
Captain, what greeting will you to my Lord Lafeu? I am for France.
Good captain. Will you give me a copy of the sonnet you wrote to Diana in behalf of the Count Brazilian? And I were not a very coward. I compel you of it. But fare you well. You are undone, Captain, all but your scarf. That had a knot in it yet.
Cannot be crushed with a plot.
If you could find out a country where but women were that had received so much shame, you might begin an impudent nation. Very well, sir. I am for France too. We shall speak of you there.
Yet, I am thankful. If my heart were great, would burst at this. Captain, I'll be no more. But I will eat and drink and sleep as soft as a captain shall. Simply the thing I am shall make me live. Who knows himself a braggart, let him fear this, for it will come to pass that every braggart shall be found an ass. Rust, sword, cool blushes, and prowess live, safes in shame. Being fooled by foolery, thrive. There is place and means for every man alive. I laugh to them.
Act 4, Scene 4, Helen, Widow, and Diana.
That you may well perceive I have not wronged you, one of the greatest in the Christian world shall be my surety, for whose throne 'tis needful ere I can perfect mine intents to kneel. Time was, I did him a desired office, dear almost as his life, which gratitude, though flinty Tartan's bosom would peep forth and answer thanks. I truly am informed his grace is at Marseilles, to which place we have convenient convoy. You must know I'm supposed dead. The army breaking, my husband hies him home where heaven aiding, and by the leave of my good lord the king, will be before our welcome.
Gentle madam, you never had a servant to whose trust your business was more welcome.
Nor your mistress ever a friend, whose thoughts more truly labor to recompense your love. Doubt not, but heaven hath brought me up to be your daughter's dower, and as it hath fated her to be my motive and helper to a husband. But oh, strange men, that can such sweet use make of what they hate, when saucy trusting of the cozened thoughts defiles the pitchy night, so lust doth play with what it loathes, for that which is away, but more of this hereafter. You, Diana, under my poor instructions, yet must suffer something in my behalf.
Let death and honesty go with your impositions. I am yours upon your will to suffer.
Yet I pray you, but with the word the time will bring on summer, when briars shall have leaves as well as thorns, and be as sweet as sharp. We must away, our wagon is prepared, and time revives us. All's well that ends well, and still the fine's the crown, whate'er the course, the end is the renown.
Act 4, Scene 5, Clown, Countess, and Lafeu.
No, no, no. Your son was misled with a snip taffeta fellow there, whose villainous saffron would have made all the unbanked and downy youth of a nation in his color. Your daughter-in-law had been alive at this hour, and your son here at home, more advanced by the king than by that red-tailed humblebee I speak of.
I would I had not known him. It was the death of the most virtuous gentlewoman that ever nature had praised for creating. If she had partaken of my flesh and cost me the dearest groans of a mother, I could not have owed her a more rooted love.
'Twas a good lady, 'twas a good lady. We may pick 1,000 shallots ere we light on such another herb.
Indeed, sir, she was the sweet marjoram of the salad, or rather the herb of grace.
They are not herbs, you knave, they are nose herbs.
I am no great Nebuchadnezzar, sir. I have not much skill in grace.
Whether dost thou profess thyself a knave or a fool?
A fool, sir, at a woman's service, and a knave at a man's.
Your distinction.
I would cousin the man of his wife and do his service.
So you were a knave at his service indeed.
And I would give his wife my bauble, sir, to do her service.
I will subscribe for thee. Thou art both knave and fool.
At your service.
No, no, no.
Why, sir, if I cannot serve you, I can serve as great a prince as you are.
Who's that, a Frenchman?
Faith, sir, It has an English mane, but his physiognomy is more hotter in France than there.
What prince is that?
The Black Prince, sir, alias the Prince of Darkness, alias the Devil.
Hold thee, there's my purse. I give thee not this to suggest thee from thy master thou talk'st of. Serve him still.
I am a woodland fellow, sir, that always loved a great fire, and the master I speak of ever keeps a good fire. But sure, he is the prince of the world. Let his nobility remain in court. I am for the house with the narrow gate, which I take to be too little for pomp to enter. Some that humble themselves may, but the many will be too chill and tender, and they'll be for the flowery way that leads to the broad gate and the great fire.
Go thy ways. I begin to be aweary of thee, and I tell thee so before, because I would not fall out with thee. Go thy ways, let my horses be well looked to, without any tricks.
If I put any tricks upon them, sir, they shall be jade's tricks, which are their own right by the law of nature.
A shrewd knave and an unhappy.
So he is. My lord is gone, made himself much sport out of him. By his authority, he remains here, which he thinks is a patent for his sauciness, and indeed he has no pace, but runs where he will.
I like him well, 'tis not amiss. And I was about to tell you, since I heard of the good lady's death, and that my lord your son was upon his return home. I moved the king, my master, to speak in the behalf of my daughter, which in the minority of them both, his majesty, out of a self-gracious remembrance, did first propose. His highness hath promised me to do it, and to stop up the displeasure he hath conceived against your son, there is no fitter matter. How does your ladyship like it?
With very much content, my lord, and I wish it happily effected.
His highness comes post from Marcellus as of the able body as when as able. His highness comes post from Marcellus of his able body as when he numbered 30. Will be here tomorrow, or I am deceived by him that in such intelligence hath seldom failed.
It rejoices me that I hope I shall see him ere I die. I have letters that my son will be here tonight. I shall beseech your lordship to remain with me until they meet together.
Madam, I was thinking with what manners I might safely be admitted.
You need but plead your honorable privilege.
Lady, of that I have made a bold charter, but I thank my God it holds yet.
Oh, madam, yonder's my lord, your son, with a patch of velvet on his face. Whether there be a scar under it or no, the velvet knows. But 'tis a goodly patch of velvet. His left cheek is a cheek of 2 pile and a half, but his right cheek is worn bare.
Scar nobly got, or a noble scar, is a good livery of honor. So belike as that.
But it is your carbonadoed face.
Let us go see your son, I pray you. I long to talk with the young noble soldier.
Faith, there's a dozen of them with delicate, fine hats and most courteous feathers, which bow the head and nod at every man.
Act 5, Scene 1. Enter Helen, widow, and Diana with 2 attendants.
But this exceeding posting day and night must wear your spirits low. We cannot help it. But since you have made the days and nights as one, to wear your gentle limbs in my affairs, be bold you do so grow in my requital, and nothing can unroot you. In happy time, this man may help me to his majesty's ear, if he would spend his power. God save you, sir.
You?
Sir, I've seen you in the court of France.
I have been sometimes there.
I do presume, sir, that you are not fain from the that goes upon your goodness, and therefore goaded with most sharp occasions, which lay nice manners by. I put you the use of your own virtues, for the which I shall continue thankful.
And what's your will?
That it will please you to give this poor petition to the king and aid me that store of power you have to come unto his presence.
The king's not here.
Not here, sir.
Not indeed. He hence removed last night, and with more haste than is his use.
Lord, how we lose our pains.
All's well that ends well yet. Though time seems so adverse and means unfit, I do beseech you, whither is he gone?
Marry, as I take it, to Rossalom, whither I am going.
Do beseech you, sir, since you are like to see the king before me, commend the paper to his gracious hand, which I presume shall render you no blame, but rather make you thank your pains for it. I will come after you with good speed. Our means will make us means.
This I do for you.
And you shall find yourself to be well thanked where'er it falls more. We must to horse again. Go, go, provide.
Act 5, Scene 2, Clown and Parolles.
Good Mr. Lavache, give my lord Lafew this letter. I have ere now, sir, been better known to you when I have held familiarity with fresher clothes, but I am now, sir, muddied in fortune's mood and smell somewhat strong of her strong displeasure.
Truly, fortune's displeasure is but sluttish if it smell so strongly as thou speak of. I will henceforth eat no fish of fortune's butchering. Prithee, allow the wind.
Nay, you need not to stop your nose, sir. I spake but by a metaphor.
Indeed, sir, if your metaphor stink, I will stop my nose, or against any man's metaphor. Prithee, get thee further.
Pray you, sir, deliver me this paper.
Oh, prithee, stand away. A paper from fortune's close stool to give to a nobleman. Look, here he comes himself. Here is a pure of fortune, sir, or fortune's cat, but not a muscat. That he's fallen into the unclean fish pond of her displeasure, and as he says, it's muddied withal. Pray you, sir, use the carp as you may, for he looks like a poor, decayed, ingenious, foolish, rascally knave. I do pity his distress and my smiles of comfort and leave him to your lordship.
My lord, I am a man whom fortune hath cruelly scratched.
And what would you have me to do? 'Tis too late to pay her nails now. Wherein have you played the knave with fortune that she should scratch you, who of herself is a good lady, and would not have knaves thrive long under? There's a cardicule for you. Let the justices make you and fortune friends. I am for other business.
I beseech your honor to hear me one single word.
You beg a single penny more. Come, you shall have it. Save your word.
My name, my good lord, is Parolles.
You beg more than the word, then? Cocks my passion. Give me your hand. How does your drum?
Oh, my good lord, you were the first that found me.
Was I, in sooth? And I was the first that lost thee.
It lies in you, my lord, to bring me in some grace, for you did bring me out.
Out upon thee, knave. Dost thou put upon me at once both the office of God and the devil? One brings thee in grace, and the other brings thee out. The king's coming, I know by his trumpets. Sirrah, inquire further after me. I had talk of you last night. Though you are a fool and a knave, you shall eat. Go to, fellow.
I praise God for you.
For everybody, Act 5, Scene 3. King, old lady, Countess, Lafew, and the two French lords with attendants.
Gotta grab my book again. Please give me a moment.
Very, very, very bottom of page 121.
I get it. We lost a jewel of her, and our esteem was made much poorer by it. But your son, as mad in folly, lacked the sense to know her estimation home.
'Tis past, my liege, and I beseech your majesty to make it natural rebellion, done in the blade of youth, when oil and fire, too strong for reason's force, or bears it and burns on.
My honored lady, I have forgiven and forgotten all, though my revengers were high bent upon him and watched the time to shoot.
This I must say, but first I beg my pardon. The young lord did to his majesty, his mother, and his lady the greatest wrong of all. He lost a wife whose beauty did astonish the survey of rich eyes, whose words all ears took captive, whose dear perfection hearts that scorn to serve humbly called mistress.
Praising what is lost makes the remembrance dear. Well, call him hither. We are reconciled, and the first of you shall kill all repetition. Let him not ask our pardon. The nature of his great offense is dead, and deeper than oblivion we do bury the incensing relics of it. Let him approach a stranger, no offender, and inform him so 'tis our will he should.
I shall, my liege.
What says he to your daughter? Have you spoke?
All that he is hath reference to your highness.
Then shall we have a match. I have letters sent me that sets him high in fame.
He looks well on't.
I am not a day of season, for thou mayst see a sunshine and a hail in me at once. But to the brightest beams distracted clouds give way. So stand thou forth, the time is fair again.
My high repented blames, dear sovereign, pardon to me.
All is whole. Not one word more of the consumed time. Let's take the instant by the forward top, for we are old, and on our quickest decrees the inaudible and noiseless foot of time steals ere we can effect them. You remember the daughter of this lord?
Admiringly, my liege. At first I stuck my choice upon her, ere my heart durst make too bold a herald of my tongue, where the impression of mine eye in fixing contempt his scornful perspective did lend me, which warped the line of every other favor, scorned a fair color, or expressed its stolen, extended or contracted all proportions to a most hideous object. Thence it came that she whom all men praised, and whom myself, since I have lost, have loved, was in mine eye the dust that did offend it.
Well excused. That thou didst love her strikes some scores away from the great compt, but love that comes too late, like a remorseful pardon slowly carried to the great sender, turns a sour offense, crying that's good, that's gone. Our rash faults make trivial price of serious things we have, not knowing them until we know their grave. Oft their displeasures to ourselves unjust destroy our friends, and after weep their dust. Our own love, waking, cries to see what's done, which shameful hate sleeps out the afternoon. Be this sweet Helen's knell, and now forget her. Send forth your amorous token for fair Magdalene. The main consents are had, and here we'll stay to see our widower's second marriage day.
Not finished.
Oh, I have a different text. This is all I have.
Come on, my son. Come on, my son, in whom my house's name must be digested. Give a favor from you to sparkle in the spirits of my daughter, that she may quickly come. By my old beard and every hair that's on't, Helen that's dead was a sweet creature. Such a ring as this, the last that ere I took her leave at court, I saw upon her finger.
Hers it was not.
Now pray you let me see it. For mine eye, while I was speaking, oft was fastened to it. This ring was mine, and when I gave it Helen, I bade her, if her fortunes ever stood in necessity to help, that by this token I would relieve her. Had you that craft to reave her of what should stead her most?
My gracious sovereign, howe'er it pleases you to take it so, the ring was never hers.
son, on my life, I have seen her wear it, and she reckoned it at her lives rate.
I'm sure I saw her wear it.
You are deceived, my lord. She never saw it. In Florence was it from a casement thrown me, wrapped in a paper which contained the name of her that threw it. Noble she was, and thought I stood engaged, but when I had subscribed to mine own fortune and informed her fully, I could not answer in that course of honor. As she had made the overture, she ceased in heavy satisfaction and would never receive the ring again.
Plutus himself, that knows the tinct and multiplying medicine, hath not in nature's mystery more science than I have in this ring. 'Twas mine, 'twas Helen's, whoever gave it you. Then if you know that you are well acquainted with yourself, confess 'twas hers, and by what rough enforcement you got it from her. She called the saints to surety that she would never put it from her finger unless she gave it to yourself in bed, where you have never come, or sent it us upon her great disaster.
She never saw it.
Thou speak'st it falsely, as I love mine honor, and makes conjectural fears to come into me, which I would fain shut out. If it should prove that thou art so inhuman, 'twill not prove so, and yet I know not. Thou didst hate her deadly, and she is dead, which nothing but to close her eye myself could win me to believe more than to see this ring. Take him away. My forepast proofs, howe'er the matter fall, shall tax my fears of little vanity, having vainly feared too little. Away with him, we'll sift this matter further.
If you shall prove this ring was ever hers, you shall as easy prove that I husbanded her bed in Florence, where yet she never was.
I am wrapped in dismal thinkings.
Gracious sovereign, whether I have been to blame or no, I know not. Here's a petition from a Florentine, who hath for 4 or 5 removes come short to tender it herself. I undertook it, vanquished thereto by the fair grace and speech of the poor suppliant, who by this I know is here attending. Her business looks in her with an importing visage, and she told me in a sweet verbal brief it did concern your highness with herself. Upon his many protestations to marry me when his wife was dead, I blush to say it, he won me. Now is the Count Brasilian a widower. His vows are forfeited to me, and my honors paid to him. He stole from Florence, taking no leave, and I followed him to his country, for justice granted me. O king, in you it best lies, otherwise a seducer flourishes, and a poor maid is undone. Diana Capulet.
I will buy me a son-in-law in a fair, and toll for this. I'll none of him.
The heavens have thought well on thee, of you, to bring forth this discovery. Seek these suitors, go speedily, and bring again the count. I am afeard the life of Helen, lady, was foully snatched.
And justice on, sorry.
All justice on the doers.
It was foully snatched, wasn't it, Kitty? I wonder, sir, sith wives are monsters to you, and that you fly them as you swear them lordship, yet you desire to marry. That is not justice. Your daughter is still alive.
No idea where we are, I'm sorry.
Top of 130, Diana. Is she still, she might have had, wait, is it?
Oh,
what she had to leave at 3:30.
She's left.
Oh, okay.
She chatted.
I can read Diana if you want.
Oh, thank you. That's great. Thanks.
I am, my lord, a wretched Florentine, derived from the ancient Capulet. My suit, as I do understand, you know, and therefore know how far I may be pitied.
I am her mother, sir, whose age and honor both suffer under this complaint we bring, and both shall cease without your remedy.
Come hither, Count. Do you know these women?
My lord, I neither can nor will deny, but that I know them. Do they charge me further?
Why do you look so strange upon your wife?
She's none of mine, my lord.
If you shall marry, You give away this hand, and that is mine. You give away heaven's vows, and those are mine. You give away myself, which is known mine. For I by vow am so embodied yours, that she which marries you must marry me, either both or none.
Your reputation comes too short for my daughter. You are no husband for her.
My lord, this is a fond and desperate creature whom sometime I have laughed with. Let your highness lay a more noble thought upon mine honor than for to think that I would sink it here.
I'm a little bit lost.
Top of 131.
Oh, I have a different book. Okay, yeah, here. Sir, for my thoughts, you have them ill to friend till your deeds gain them. Fairer prove your honor than in my thought it lies.
Good, my lord. Ask him upon his oath if he does think he had not my virginity.
What sayst thou to her?
She's impudent, my lord, and was a common gamester to the camp.
He does me wrong, my lord. If I were so, he might have bought me at a common price. Do not believe him. Oh, behold this ring, whose high respect and rich validity did lack a parallel. Yet for all that, he gave it to a commoner at the camp, if I be one.
Countess?
Am I, that's, okay. He blushes, and 'tis hit. Of 6 preceding ancestors, that gem, conferred by testament to the sequent issue, hath it been owed and worn. This is his wife. That rings 1,000 proofs.
Methought you said you saw one here in court could witness it.
I did, my lord, but loath them to produce so bad an instrument. His name's Parolles.
I saw the man today, if man he be.
Find him and bring him hither.
What of him? He's quoted for a most perfidious slave with all the spots of the world, taxed and debauched, whose nature sickens. But to speak a truth, am I or that or this for what he'll utter that will speak anything?
She hath that ring of yours.
I think she has. Certain it is I liked her and boarded her in the wanton way of youth. She knew her distance and did angle for me, madding my eagerness with her restraint, as all impediments in fancy's course are motives of more fancy, and in fine, her insuit coming with her modern grace subdued me to her rate. She got the ring, and I had that which any inferior might at market price have bought.
I must be careful. You that have turned off a first so noble wife may justly diet me. I pray you yet, since you lack virtue, I will lose a husband. Send for your ring. I will return it home and give me mine again.
I have it not.
What ring was yours, I pray you?
Sir, much like the same upon your finger.
Know you this ring? This ring was his of late.
And this was it I gave him, being a bed.
The story then goes false. You threw at him out of a casement.
I have spoken the truth.
My lord, I do confess the ring was hers.
You boggle shrewdly. Every feather starts you. Is this the man you speak of?
Aye, my lord.
Tell me, sirrah, but tell me true, I charge you, not fearing the displeasure of your master, which on your just proceeding I'll keep off. By him and by this woman here, what know you?
So please your majesty, my master hath been an honorable gentleman. Tricks he hath had in him, which gentlemen have.
Come to the purpose. Did he love this woman?
Faith, sir, he did love her, but how?
How, I pray you?
He did love her, sir, as a gentleman loves a woman.
How is that?
He loved her, sir, and loved her not.
As thou art a knave and no knave, what an equivocal companion is this?
I am a poor man, and at your majesty's command.
He's a good drum, my lord, but a naughty orator.
Do you know he promised me marriage?
Faith, I know more than I'll speak.
But wilt thou not speak all thou knowest?
Yes, so please your majesty. I did go between them, as I said, but more than that, he loved her, for indeed he was mad for her, and talked of Satan, and of limbo, and of furies, and I know not what. Yet I was in that credit with them at the time that I knew of their going to bed, and of other motions, as promising her marriage, and things which would derive me ill will to speak of. Therefore, I will not speak what I know.
Thou hast spoken all already, unless thou can say they are married, but thou art too fine in thy evidence, therefore stand aside. This ring you say was yours?
Aye, my good lord.
Where did you buy it, or who gave it you?
It was not given me, nor did I not buy it.
Who lent it you?
It was not lent me neither.
Where did you find it then?
I found it not.
If it were yours by none of all these ways, how could you give it him?
I never gave it him.
This woman's an easy glove, my lord. She goes off and on at pleasure.
This ring was mine. I gave it his first wife.
It might be yours or hers, for aught I know.
Take her away. I do not like her now. To prison with her and away with him. Unless thou tellst me where thou hadst this ring, thou diest within this hour.
I'll never tell you.
Take her away.
I'll put in bail, my liege.
I think thee now some common customer.
By Jove, if ever I knew man, 'twas you.
Wherefore hast thou accused him all this while?
Because he's guilty, and he is not guilty. He knows I am no maid, and he'll swear to it. I'll swear I am a maid, and he knows not. Great king, I am no strumpet by my life. I am either maid or else this old man's wife.
She does abuse our ears. To prison with her.
Good mother, fetch my bail. Stay royal, sir. The jeweler that owes the ring is sent for, and he shall sure it me. But for this lord, who hath abused me as he knows himself, though yet he never harmed me, here I quit him. He knows himself my bed he hath defiled, and at that time he got his wife with child. Dead though she be, she feels her young one kick. So there's my riddle, one that's dead is quick. And now behold the meaning.
Is there no exorcist beguiles the truer office of mine eyes? Is real that I see?
No, my good lord, 'tis but the shadow of a wife you see, the name and not the thing.
Both, oh pardon.
Oh, my good lord, when I was like this maid, I found you wondrous kind. There is your ring, and look you, here's your letter. This it says, when from my finger you can get this ring, and is by me with child, etc. This is done. Will you be mine now that you are doubly won?
If she, my liege, can make me know this clearly, I'll love her dearly, ever, ever dearly.
If it appear not plain and prove untrue, deadly divorce step between me and you. Oh, my dear mother, do I see you living?
Mine eyes smell onions. I shall weep anon. Good Tom Drum, lend me a handkerchief. So I thank thee. Wait on me at home. I'll make sport with thee. Let thy curtsies alone, they are scurvy ones.
Let us from point to point the story know, to make the even truth and pleasure flow. If thou beest yet a fresh uncropped flower, choose thou thy thy husband, and I'll pay thy dower. For I can guess that by thy honest day thou kept'st a wife herself, thyself a maid. Of that and all the progress more and less resolvedly more leisure shall express. All yet seems well, and if it ends so meet, the bitter past, more welcome is the sweet. The king's
I
a
did-
beggar.
Go
Now
ahead.
the play is done. All is well ended if this suit be won. That you express content which we will pay with strife to please you day exceeding day. Ours be your patience then, and yours our parts. Your gentle hands lend us and take our hearts.
The end. Yay!
That's
Right on 4.
way to go, timing.
Yay!
Yeah.
Mm.
402.
Way to
Thank
go.
you, everybody, for jumping in
you.
all the time.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I love your different character
Yeah.
voices. They were
Yeah.
wonderful.
Mm. Thanks. Well, you all did a splendid job.
Ravi Tutti.
I think we're still recording, or are we all? No, we're still recording.
She's still recording. Well done, everyone. Thank you. Thanks so much for
Thank you,
putting
Paul.
this together.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Paul.
Paul.
Thank you, everybody.
Weather out there.
Stay warm.